59 traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. Auto loan rates as low as 4.74% APR. And back to you, Cam.
If you're headed north on I-15, you're going to run into some slowdowns as you come around Point of the Mountain. Those are going to stick around until about 106 South in Draper. They'll clear up for a little while before picking up again around the South Interchange and then up in the city as you come to the I-80 junction. All told, it's going to be about a 50-minute commute if you're going from Provo to Salt Lake City right now. Andy?
Traffic on South 15 all clear through Davis and Weber counties, but we've got a long delay on Foothill right now. The lights are not working at Foothill and Wacara Way, and that's created traffic jam back all the way down to 1700 South. And so if you know a better route, 1300 East is probably where most people are going, so expect some busier traffic there, especially in front of East High and working your way up towards 500 South. But that is probably a better option. If you're on I-80, don't grab Foothill, head over to 1300 East instead. If you're taking I-80 into Parley's Canyon, you've got the full speed limit until Kimball Junction, and it's pretty heavy from there to Highway 40. No problems along West Davis or Legacy in Davis County either.
Today we'll get up to 98 degrees with some clouds and a slight chance of a storm. The big chance of rain looks like tomorrow. Tomorrow, and also to start off next week, Monday and Tuesday, big chances of rain. We might even see some heavy rain and lightning. Highs will be in the upper 90s through Monday, then the low 90s starting on Tuesday. Right now it's mostly cloudy and 82 degrees downtown.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour, the National Weather Service has issued a flood watch for much of southern Utah today, where some of the state's largest burn scars are. That includes the Forsyth, France Canyon, Cottonwood, and Monroe Canyon fire burn scars. And National Weather Service meteorologist Sam Weber says people headed to national parks will also have to watch out for floodwaters today.
If you are going into Slot Canyon areas, have an escape route, know your escape routes, because these waters can rise very rapidly in a very short amount of time.
Weber says it's probable people will see flash floods today in 4 of the mighty 5 national parks and possibly even in Arches. He says the rain could cause problems in these areas for the next few days. We now know what areas have been cut out of Bears Ears and Grand Staircase Escalante National Monuments after the president signed an order to shrink them earlier this week. Under the order, places like the Grand Staircase itself, Cedar Wash Arch, Chimney Rock, and the Nautilus will no longer be part of the monuments. However, the Bears Ears Buttes, Calf Creek Falls, House on Fire, and the Sand Island petroglyphs will be. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Americans were buying more cars last month and happily fueling them up.
U.S. consumers purchased $768 billion worth of stuff last month, slightly more than the previous month and more than 6.5% above the level of June 2025. Amazon's Prime Day helped to push up retail sales, but bars and restaurants don't appear to have benefited much from World Cup. Government analysts say receipts from those establishments barely budged last month.
ABC's Jim Ryan reporting. Your money at this moment. Let's see where the market is. The Dow is up 134. That's 0.25%. We're at 52,793. Coming up, we'll get a look at this chance of rain in the forecast throughout the next 7 days. KSL Weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:02. A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Well, it's official. My friends have all switched to Pure Talk because I told them they could save a bunch of money on a super reliable high-speed network with unlimited data. And because they're my friends, they trust me. As for the rest of you, well, Pure Talk understands that even though you might like me, you're not just going to take my word for it, nor should you. For that reason, and for a very limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited plan that normally sells for $65 a month. Think of it like a test drive, a super simple way to save $150 while you kick the tires on Pure Talk's blazing fast network, and a fine way to see for yourself why I switched from Big Wireless, along with a few 100,000 of my closest friends. Dial pound 250. Say Mike Rowe and be connected to Pure Talk's friendly U.S. customer service team. Again, dial pound 250. Say Mike Rowe and let the savings begin.
Most families get their financial advice in pieces. A financial advisor here, a CPA there, an estate attorney somewhere else. Everyone means well, but nobody's talking to each other, and those gaps can work against you. Trajan Wealth's family office brings wealth management, tax strategy, and estate planning together, not as separate conversations, but as one coordinated system built around your life, your goals, and the people who matter most. Ours is a true family office, not one that refers you out because it's convenient. This kind of dedicated collaboration used to require a 7-figure net worth, but here's the game changer. Trajan kicked that door open. Trajan advisors are fiduciaries, always obligated, always honored to act in your best interest. Unlock your Trajan family office at TrajanWealth.com or call 1-855-TRAJAN-1. That's 1-855-TRAJAN-1.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax.
Hey there, it's Julie from Logan. Head up north where the air is clear for a refreshingly unexpected getaway. Start your day by singing yodelay at the top of your lungs on a canyon trail with views that go on for miles. Here's a secret. The National Forest is only 10 minutes from your hotel. What? I know. Next, rent horses or a side-by-side at Beaver Creek Lodge up Logan Canyon to spy colorful wildflowers and birds and stunningly beautiful scenery. After your day of adventure, wander downtown to check out our local shops selling everything from antiques to giant jigsaw puzzles to vintage clothing and goat's milk soap. Watch them hand-dip chocolates at Bluebird Candy, eat sourdough pizza, or drop into the family-friendly Prodigy Brew Pub where their deep-fried pickle spears are divine. I didn't even mention live theater performance like the Lyrics Laugh Out Loud Forever Plaid, or free concerts every weekday at noon in the Tabernacle, or community festivals, or... See what I'm saying? We are refreshingly Logan. Visit explorelogan.com, explorelogan.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. And here's Cormac Bone.
We do still see this crash on northbound I-15 in the right shoulder just after 106 South. Looks like they're about ready to drive off, so no delays behind them. Where North 15 does slow down, that's from 5300 South all the way up to 13th South. Pretty solid stretch of delays there, but it's working its way out after the morning drive. And then we have some heavier issues on the city streets at Foothill Drive northbound. Those delays start at 1700 South. Reach all the way up to Wakara Way where the lights are, looks like maybe they're functioning again the way the cars are moving. So hopefully those delays clear out, but it is pretty hefty on your way into the campus. At UTA, it's never just a ride from point A to point B. We move independence, we move purpose, we move memories, we move what matters. You plan your trip at rideuta.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll see highs around 98 today with a slight chance of a shower this afternoon. Good chance of rain tomorrow. In fact, we have a chance of thunderstorms every day for the next 7 days. Right now, it's 82 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Not saying we called it, but we called it. Several Utahns have filed a defamation lawsuit against Kevin O'Leary, the man behind the Stratos data center in Box Elder County, and Fox News.
Yeah, it was interesting. They filed the lawsuit against both O'Leary and Fox News. Fox News for, publishing it and sort of almost seemingly going out of their way, at least according to the lawsuit. But what happened here was O'Leary, if you recall, had called out several Utahns and their groups back in May, saying that their opposition to the data center was being funded by the Chinese Communist Party, those groups being the Alliance for a Better Utah, Elevate Strategies, and their founders, Josh Cantor and Gabby Finlayson. They filed a lawsuit saying O'Leary and Fox News comments damaged both their reputation and their businesses. It's a federal lawsuit. It's 70 pages long. I've been reading it over this morning.
Wow. So this lawsuit comes even though O'Leary and Fox News both issued statements a few weeks ago retracting their comments. And remember, I asked you, is this because of a lawsuit? And then when I read it to you, you're like, probably.
Yeah. So here are Kevin O'Leary's initial comments on Fox News that I think will explain a lot of this.
Who would want us to stop building our electrical grid? Who would want to stop us from having compute capacity to develop AI? Which adversary would want that? There's only one. It's China. And so they can't use TikTok anymore to put out all the, whatever misinformation they were doing there. So what I think is happening, and I've got some interesting data for it. This is from last night at 5 o'clock. So when we had the announcement, a unanimous vote by the commissioners in Box Elder County on the project there, we noticed an immediate spike in misinformation on two platforms, Instagram and X, formerly Twitter. So we dug in. I got my guys to go a deep dig into the IP addresses, and here's what we found out. This is fascinating. Party for Socialism and Liberation, run by somebody called Nivelle Singham, pounding our social media with misinformation about Utah. For example, we're not using any electricity off the grid, Bernie. We're developing our own power, and then we're going to sell it back to the grid to support the people of Utah and the whole U.S. But wait, we found two cells inside of Utah. Alliance for a Better Utah. Taylor Kanosh maybe, and Josh Cantor. Who are you guys, and why are you spewing all this misinformation out? You say for a better Utah? Why wouldn't you want national defense in Utah? Why wouldn't you want compute power? Lastly, Elevate Strategies, also a cell operating inside of Utah. Gabby Finlayson. Gabby, what are you doing? And who's paying you? So what I'm doing right now is, after getting this data, I'm calling out Taylor, Josh, and Gabby, operating in Utah. I want a forensic audit of who's funding their platforms.
Boy, the whole time I'm listening to that, I'm looking at this lawsuit and thinking he is digging himself a hole deeper and deeper and deeper.
He even kept going.
Yeah, he doubled down.
This money is coming from China. An organization called Alabella, and I'm going to publish it over the weekend. We looked at all the IRS Form 990s.
I know what a 990 is, right? That's the tax form that nonprofit organizations have to file.
Yeah.
And he was prevaricating.
So then apparently, if you recall, somebody sent him a letter saying, knock it off. And he issued an apology saying, I recently went on various programs. I'd like to clarify that I have no evidence that Alliance for a Better Utah, Elevate Strategies, Gabrielle Finlayson, Taylor Knuth, or Josh Cantor are funded by China or the Chinese government. And Fox News actually issued its own on-air apology.
Fox News Media is likely likewise aware of no evidence that they are funded by or acting at the direction of or in coordination with Chinese interests in opposing Kevin O'Leary's project. Fox News Media apologizes for the error.
Okay, so yesterday a lawsuit was filed against Kevin O'Leary and Fox News by these two groups and their members in federal court, and there's no dollar amount, but they've put it in a tier that the amount is greater than $75,000, which is a fairly low limit. But there's no tier that's more than $1 million. That would be the higher financial tier. But this is a defamation lawsuit. It's 70 pages long. I've been reading it over this morning, and they go through in this lawsuit everything that was said by O'Leary, how it was published by Fox News, what the truth was. Because let's face it, I think everybody recognizes that these two groups, Alliance and Elevate Utah, or Elevate Strategies rather, have nothing to do with the Chinese government. I mean, there was really no basis for that at all. So then the question becomes, what are you going to do about it? It's certainly defamatory. I mean, I don't think anybody can get away with that. I guess I'm sort of, I thought that the cease and desist or whatever they got the apology was going to end it. But
well, so let's just briefly talk about what is defamation, and I think, contextually we can figure it out.
Yeah, and so it's one of those. It's a tort. It's like in opposition to a crime, but it's an intentional tort, like a auto accident is based on negligence or carelessness or something like that. These intentional torts, like defamation, require some malice. I mean, that you know what you're doing is wrong, or you're so reckless with regard to the truth that there's more than just, it's not like just.
It's a First Amendment thing too, isn't it?
Sure, and that's another issue. And that's where Fox News is probably going, hey, wait a minute. We're just reporting on what O'Leary's saying. We're just giving him a platform, which is what we do, and we're not responsible for the content. And I think that there may be an argument there. I don't know. But that'll be an interesting case. But O'Leary his First Amendment rights end with when he knows, if he did, that there's no truth to this. And what he's doing, if you listen to that first soundbite, he's like, well, I looked into this and we found all these things and we found 2 cells operating inside the Utah.
And he names them. And
Yeah.
then he later goes back and says, well, I don't have any evidence. So that to me would say he did knowingly do it without evidence.
Yeah, and actually, as I read the lawsuit, he at one point said he had 90 pages of evidence from federal law enforcement to support his claims. And of course, their claim is in the lawsuit that no such documents exist. So they're asking for punitive damages. In other words, in torts like this, you can get damages just for the malice of it. You don't have, it's not like you have to, you prove, like in an auto accident, you have damages related to the price of the
pain
car.
and suffering
your
or
pain
whatever.
And suffering,
Okay.
on and on. This is like, hey, you should just be punished for your misconduct. So they've alleged that in this lawsuit. I am a little surprised that it was filed, but it's a very aggressive lawsuit and it's a very extensive lawsuit. And now we're hearing that the defendants, O'Leary and Fox News, at least one of them has said, we're anxious to file our answer and counterclaim.
Why?
Now, I don't know what.
Why would he file a countersuit?
I don't know what the counterclaim would be unless they feel that there's some misrepresentation here. So it's unusual that you'd say, I mean, apology is one thing, but then saying, I mean, we're coming after you is a little bit different. But anyway,
well,
interesting
that's
lawsuit.
one of the things I think sometimes happen when people have too much money, right? So it's like, okay, well, I'm going to crush you.
Right.
Right. With a counterclaim. So, okay. Well, when we come back on Inside Sources, we're going to get a better picture of exactly what is being cut out of Bears Ears and Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument. And I wonder if we need to change the name of one of the monuments. Stay tuned.
What if I told you that 4 weeks from now, say the middle of August, everything could feel different in your life? That is your energy, your weight, the way your clothes fit. Well, that's what the SOTA Dynamic Diet is built to do. Right now, listeners of this show can get 4 weeks free when they call 866-800-SOTA, S-O-T-A, and mention KSL News Radio. Now, one of the reasons I contacted SOTA was this. They believe weight loss should be temporary. It's not something you do the rest of your life. The results, however, should be lifelong, and instead of putting me on shots and pills, medications, that type of thing, and become an ongoing commitment, SOTA taught me how to just eat for my body and keep the weight off for good. The weight loss medications cost a lot, and the bills don't end there. SOTA's different. They hooked me up with a degreed nutritionist who told me that the root of some of my problems was my diet. Changed my diet. I was able to get what I needed at my own grocery store. I didn't even have to buy it through them. I lost 30 pounds, and I'm keeping it off, and I've kept it off for several months now. SOTA Diet Nutrition. It's worked for me. It'll work for you. Say it with me. SOTA is state of the art.
As we celebrate America 250, KSL presents Utah Cornerstones, honoring the businesses that built our past and continue to shape our future.
Some businesses sell products, others become part of a community's legacy. Since 1948, Duke's Jewelers has been a trusted part of Springville and Utah families' most meaningful moments. That's 80 years of meaningful craftsmanship, founded by J. Melvin Duke. The tradition continues today under fourth-generation owner Kimberly Narupe, who quite literally grew up in the family shop. She has a fresh perspective and deep respect for tradition. Guided by values of care, honesty, and exceptional craftsmanship, Duke's Jewelers creates pieces designed to last a lifetime because every design begins with a story. Since Duke's is a family-owned store with lower overhead, they can offer better diamonds and craftsmanship at a better price. Learn more about this Utah Cornerstone at dukesjewelers.com.
Utah Cornerstones on KSL News Radio.
Buying a home can feel overwhelming, especially when your real estate agent recommends a lender you've never heard of. That's okay, but this is your mortgage. Before you lock anything in, get a second opinion. Loans by Rick has closed over 1,000 loans, often finding lower rates and closing costs. A quick second look could save you money. Call 801-809-SAVE. That's 801-809-SAVE. Or go to loansbyrick.com. Rick Urchenbaum, NMLS 241179, and Vintage Lending, NMLS 287106, Equal Opportunity Lenders. Buying Selling a home? Before you choose your realtor's preferred lender, a bank, or a credit union, get a second opinion from Loans by Rick. With over 25 years of mortgage lending experience and access to more than 80 wholesale lenders, we can shop multiple loan programs to help find the financing that best fits your needs. Experience and finding ways to save you money? That's what we do. Call Loans by Rick today at 801-809-7283. That's 801-809-7283. Rick Kirchenbaum, NMLS 241179, and Vintage Lending, NMLS 287106, Equal Opportunity Lenders.
Progressive presents The Museum of You. We begin our tour with a unique piece, a relic from the early big screen television era. Remarkable. Next, we find a juicer, which historians believe has only ever been used once. And finally, compact discs from the emo era. A rare find indeed.
Some things should be history, but until then, you could protect what's important to you and save by bundling your auto insurance with a renter's policy from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Summer's finally here, and we're kicking it off with a whole lot of free. Free brake pads with Duralast rotors. Free oil filter with 5 quarts of oil. Free Armor All wipes with Armor All glass cleaner, and more. More free, so you can have more summer. Celebrate free at AutoZone. Now through July 27th. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Any Hour Services can help unclog any drain in your house, whether you have a backup, a clog, or a slow drain you want fixed. Call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Everything to my back is dark.
High in the alpine wilderness.
Really ugly clouds coming over from the north.
A place
the ridgeline is imposing, the escarpments, the drops.
where survival
It's dark now. I have nothing.
is never certain.
This is not good.
My name's Dave Cawley, and I'm the host of a podcast called Uinta Triangle. It's about the disappearance of an Australian hiker named Eric.
Our conclusion and that of the sheriff is that the mountains have decided to keep him.
Come retrace Eric's footprints with me.
You have done this walk too, but this is your backyard.
Did he really make a wrong turn, or did he decide that he was done?
He is not the first or last person to vanish in this remote region.
It was haunting to see the photos. I mean, really.
Find and follow the podcast series Uinta Triangle. That's Uinta, spelled U-I-N-T-A, Triangle, wherever you get your podcasts. All episodes out now.
Inside Sources.
Well, it's called the Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument, but there's no more Grand Staircase in the designation.
So dumb.
President Trump's recent order slashing the size of the monument actually removed any protected and sacred areas in those monuments. And this morning, we can see now what's exactly been cut out.
It's a lot. So these monuments are about 90% smaller. A lot was cut out. But the Grand Staircase, cutting the Grand Staircase out of the Grand Staircase Escalante Monument, I mean, really? Seriously?
Yeah. You look at these maps, and it's a little bit haphazard. I mean, there's not a contiguous part of either one. There are little sections cut out.
That's right. They've separated them into sections. Yeah.
Which I would assume are monuments, which I assume are artifacts and things that they're trying to be protected. Now, when we spoke with one of the representatives from the tribes it's just a day or two ago, what she said was, when I asked her about the designation, she said it was all about extraction, which I took to mean mineral extraction.
Right.
Like the way the map was drawn out was to allow for more extraction.
Right.
She didn't say it that way, but that's what I took her to say. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not I was going to say I'm not a mining engineer, but actually I was. But I don't know. I don't know what's being mined down there in what particular areas. I know there's uranium. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of precious metals, and that's a big deal in our country right now. However, if that's how the designation was done, if that overrode the tribes' protections of their sacred land, that's a real problem. And so I really would like to get their input on how this was drawn up and why it was designated the way it currently is.
Yeah, I want to talk about some of the other parts that were taken out too, and then you can maybe share your experience being down there. But other portions of the Grand Staircase taken out, Grosvenor Arch taken out, Metate, I don't even know if that's the way you say it, Metate Arch, Cedar Wash, Chimney Rock, the Nautilus Formation, North and South Six Shooter Peaks, Butler Wash, Devil's Garden, and the Prairie River Corridor, all taken out. of the designations.
Yeah, this was as I said the other day, this was a huge swath that was set aside by Presidents Clinton and Obama and later Biden, because it had been dialed back by Trump in his earlier term. It's been dialed back much more, and I was a little concerned that maybe the Democratic presidents had taken too big of a swath. I'm concerned that we've gone the other direction now, and I don't know whether the pendulum's going to end up, if we're going to have another discussion about this 2 years ago. But I'm very familiar with this Grand Staircase Escalante because we live over the hill in Torrey, and Escalante is just on the other side. In fact, we were in the Grand Staircase Escalante Monument over the 4th of July, just in there hanging out. Where we were would probably no longer be part of that designation. But there are a lot of Native American sites there. I mean, there's a huge area of sites, and there are things that are set aside, and set aside in large part because they don't want people to destroy those sites. Because they're accessible to the public. I mean, you can walk right up to a lot of them, and I've hiked in that area and seen some really pristine sites that you hope that people will continue to preserve. And I think that was what the designation was for, was to give a greater allowance for the federal government to protect those sites from vandalism and whatnot.
So I read to you the other day from the executive order, and one of the things that they say is because there are so many artifacts and so many petroglyphs and pictographs that they become commonplace and they don't need additional protections, which I thought was really interesting. But there's another thing as well, and those are dinosaur fossils. And this is just from our own KSL.com story. But there are people saying there are dinosaur fossils there that you can't really find anywhere else, and that if they're not protected, what they worry about is that people are going to go in and take home some of these fossils, take home some of the petrified wood from areas that are currently protected by monument designation, because these executive orders don't go into place until September 1st. So basically you have 6 weeks, and then they do.
You know, I told you that we have this place in Torrey, and it's next to Capitol Reef, and there's a hike that we do, Chimney Rock. And it's a beautiful hike, and one of the things that I've always enjoyed about the hike was this area that you walk by that has this, it literally is a giant tree that has fallen and is petrified.
Oh, wow.
And some of the pieces of it were larger than you could carry.
Oh, wow.
They're gone. I mean, somebody went in there and took a bunch of them. And it would have taken a wheelbarrow. I mean, I don't know how somebody got in there, but it's heartbreaking.
Well, because they're rock, right?
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
they look
they're
like
heavy.
a tree, but they're rock.
There's heavy.
Yeah.
We've got some petrified wood on our property there, and I can tell you it's just heavy to move it. But, you know, it's sad when people get in there and do that. And these sites have pieces of pottery. They have artifacts,
arrowheads,
yeah, that type of thing, and things that were used to make food and to crush grain and that type of thing. I mean, leave them alone, because the beauty of them isn't in your living room. It's at the site where they were.
Yeah.
And you can see how the culture was set up. There's a place down there called the Moon House where you can literally look at how people lived and when different places where they stored food and slept. And preserving that is so important. I hope we continue to do that. I mean, and you'd hate to see these pictographs and petroglyphs that are being defaced, but they are. You'll see somebody writing graffiti on them. Like, please don't do that. But I mean, I don't know whether this will open that up to more things. What I'm more concerned about when we've done what we're doing with these designations are two things. One is the mining and mineral extraction, which obviously is hard on the land. But another is allowing too much, I say access, I shouldn't say that, but there are certain vehicles and things that can be pretty rough on the land. And in our national parks, we don't allow, even I'm a mountain biker. We can't mountain bike in the arches. You just can't. You can, the Slick Rock Trail's in a different area.
Yeah.
And you can do that, but they causes harm. And over years and years and years, it causes significant harm. And so protecting that and preventing that, I mean, they don't even allow dogs in the national parks.
Wow.
In the national forest you do, but I mean, pets, dogs, mountain bikes, motorcycles, Jeeps, there are things that you do in these areas to keep them pristine, and let's hope that people will continue to honor that. But that protection is gone in some areas.
So there are also a number of people who are happy about these designations. I mean, I'm not 100% sure that they knew that the Grand Staircase would be taken out of Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument. I didn't see the executive order did not include a name change, but one of the things too that I've seen, and this was my point a couple of days ago, is this whiplash. Right, back and forth and back and forth. And even the Deseret News editorial board said, well, it's just going to change again in 2 years, right, when we have the next Democratic president. So they didn't say 2 years. They said when we have the next Democratic president.
Right, whenever that happens to be.
But the way to do that is for Congress then to actually pass legislation designating this area, right? So instead of doing it by executive order, it's passed by congressional legislation, and it would include all the boundaries. And there are, as you mentioned, some of the tribes, the Bears Ears Commission, made up of 5 tribes that live in the area. One of the things that I heard that was an interesting pushback was, well, these are tribes that don't live there, except for we've talked to people who do live there. Like they literally look out their back window and they can see it. But the commission was disbanded, the Bears Ears Commission. And one of the things I think that is sad is that there was some apparently promise that they would talk with the tribes, but then the Interior Department in 2025 said, look, we'll meet with the Bears Ears Commission if we consider changes to the monument. After the fact, after Trump signed these executive orders, this was their response. The Antiquities Act does not require tribal consultation prior to signing of proclamations related to national monuments. And then they said tribal consultation will be part of the monument management planning process. Well, how much confidence do they have in that?
Yes, and the Antiquities Act is vague on both sides. So
it is.
Maybe Congress does need to step in. I'm just not sure whether they.
I think they absolutely have to, because you cannot keep this whiplash going back and forth.
Yeah. Well, when we come back on Inside Sources elections, it's what will be on the president's mind tonight when he addresses the nation. We'll get a preview of what the president is expected to say just as midterm elections come a-knockin'. Stay with us.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour, the financial markets were up again yesterday, nearing all-time highs, even with the uncertainty of what's happening in Iran.
The Dow itself has gone up exponentially.
Shane Stewart is a financial planner with more than 30 years' experience. He says when he started, people wondered if the Dow would ever reach 10,000.
There used to be a saying that everyone was pushing for, what if the Dow got to 10,000 by the year 2000? It was a big mantra, 10,000 by 2000, and everybody thought that will never happen. Well, 26 years later, here we are, 5 times that.
Stewart says that people will base what they do in the market on deadlines of when they need their investments instead of headlines about how the market is doing. They'll do well. Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
Multiple states, including Utah, are looking to lessen the number of scammer robocalls you get. Utah Attorney General Derek Brown says AGs across the country have brought the issue to the FCC, asking for stricter regulation for companies buying and selling numbers.
Once people get those numbers, we want to know how they're being used so we can then trace the scam back to its source. So the reality is, if you're a provider who has access to numbers, you should have to certify who actually owns them.
Brown wants Utahns to know they never have to answer the phone for a number they don't recognize. But he also hopes this push will make it easier for everyone to trust the calls they do receive. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. This morning, local health officials in 34 states are on the alert for the ongoing outbreak of the intestinal illness cyclosporiosis, which has now topped around 7,000 cases nationwide.
The epicenter is in Michigan, where doctors tell us they typically see less than 50 cases per year. Now it's up to 600 per day. Health officials there say the outbreak could be tied to lettuce or salad greens, but nationwide, federal officials still have not identified a cause.
That's ABC's Elizabeth Schulze. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 136 points this morning. We're at 52,794. Coming up, we've got a chance of rain every day this week. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
This is Nate Orchard from Advanced Window Products. When you live in Utah, your windows do a lot more than let the light in. They protect your home from freezing winters, blazing summers, and everything in between. That's why Advanced Window Products builds every window for your local climate. No middleman, no out-of-state delays, just factory direct quality, custom made for your home. Imagine a quieter home, a warmer home, a cooler home. Our high-efficiency vinyl windows are engineered to lower your energy bills and boost your comfort all year round. And installation is done by our own certified in-house crews, never subcontractors. That's why Utah homeowners give us 5-star reviews. Right now, take advantage of our anniversary sale. For a limited time, get $2,500 off when you buy 10 or more windows. Call 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100. For 40 years, Advanced Window Products has been the name Utah trusts for custom replacement windows and sliding glass doors. Advanced Window Products, built here, installed here, trusted here. Call 801-850-9100 for that $2,500 off, or visit us at advancedwindows.com to schedule your free in-home estimate.
Hey Utah, have you heard? Nuclear energy might be coming to our state. Now, before your brain jumps straight into sci-fi movies, let's talk about what nuclear actually does. Nuclear technology helps power our nation's submarines, supports life-saving cancer treatments, and produces reliable electricity for millions of homes. That said, nuclear power also comes with some common misconceptions. Don't worry, we get it. Here's a fun fact. You're exposed to more radiation eating bananas than you are living near a nuclear power plant. And get this, a lifetime supply of nuclear energy fits into a single soda can. Despite what some people believe, nuclear energy is safe, clean, and incredibly efficient. But don't just take my word for it. Energy decisions matter, and Utahns deserve the facts. Learn more about nuclear and what it can mean for you. Visit energy.utah.gov/nuclear.
Amy Cox did something smart. She saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. And with that money, she decided to treat herself to an anti-aging red light mask. Will she look like a horror movie villain every night? Yes. Will her boyfriend Kevin be scarred for life? That's certainly a risk. But it's Amy's savings, and if she's willing to risk her relationship for smooth, wrinkle-free skin, well, bye-bye, Kevin. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
The sounds of summer. They're great until they're not. Luckily, AutoZone has free battery testing and charging
Let me check that for you.
to help make a rough moment smooth. Don't miss the Celebrate Free event at AutoZone. Free products with select deals until July 27th. And free services every day. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Learn how to save more this summer at uccu.com. And here's Cormac Bone.
Nearly all our I-15 delays completely gone, maybe a little slow as you approach Bangerter Highway after the point of the mountain. Eastbound I-80, that right lane pretty regularly full as you approach US 40. All the delays that we had on Foothill have cleared out as they got the stoplight working at Wakara Way. Just a little bit of maintenance happening on Redwood Road at North Temple, causing some heavier than normal congestion. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll see a high of 98 today with a slight chance of rain and cloudy skies. A good chance of rain tomorrow. That might be heavy rain. Highs in the upper 90s through Monday. Right now it's 82 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
So the 2020 election may be 6 years old by now, but it is expected to be the center focus of President Trump's nationwide address tonight. So despite previous investigations into the elections finding no evidence of widespread fraud, the president is expected to announce alleged new findings that the Chinese government did play a role in the 2020 election.
I hope that's not true, and I hope that he listens to the playbook of Kevin O'Leary when we learn that maybe the Chinese government isn't trying to mess up everything we're doing. It certainly got him and the Stratos project in trouble. I'm surprised by this. It's 6 years after the pact. It came up yesterday during Blanche's confirmation for Attorney General. Speaking of which, I ran for Attorney General in 2004 and 2020. I lost. Hey, I lost. It's over. Let's move on.
Are you sure you don't want to revisit?
No, we really lost. No question we lost. And I trusted the Republican lieutenant governor and elections people, and they got it right.
That's typically been what has happened. But look, I want to get into our own thoughts in a few minutes. But first, I wanted to talk about tonight's speech and also what Vice President Vance is saying about the midterm elections, because that was really interesting to me. So joining us now is Deseret News congressional correspondent Cami Mondo. Hi, Cami. Thanks for joining us again.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
So first, before we talk about the speech, I wonder if you could tell us what VP Vance is saying about midterms, because honestly, I was a little bit surprised.
Right. Yeah. So Vice President Vance was here on Capitol Hill yesterday speaking with House Republicans, as they're trying to move forward another budget bill. And everything that they're trying to move forward has some element of that Save America Act, which the Republicans want for election security, election integrity. But, that bill, as we've talked about before, is a long shot. Even if it was implemented tomorrow, it would still be too late for states to put these kinds of policies in place before November. So the question was, will you guys still accept the results of the 2026 elections if Republicans lose the House, lose the Senate? And Vice President Vance said that they would support the results, which did come a little bit in contradiction to President Trump, who has said that Republicans will lose if they don't have the Save America Act, and it's raised some concerns that he may say that the 2026 election is fraudulent if that's not put in place.
And Cami, I think it plays in directly with what we're hearing the president's going to talk about tonight. So if you're saying 2020 was stolen, why wouldn't you say 2026 is stolen? But VP Vance is saying we're going to accept him.
Right. And, maybe come a few months later, if they do lose, maybe that messaging will change. Who knows? But yeah, him saying yesterday that they will support the results no matter what they are is, putting his foot in the sand to say, we will accept it. We won't call fraud. But obviously, no one knows what Trump is going to say tonight. He is expected to talk about the 2020 election. And I know a lot of Republicans up here are desperate to move on from that conversation, and they want to just look ahead to the midterms.
And does it still seem, Cami, as though the Save America Act does not have the required Republican support to move to the next level, and that it's probably not going to be enacted anytime soon?
It definitely doesn't seem likely that it's going to be enacted anytime soon, certainly not before the November midterms, or at least in time for these policies to actually take effect. It just does not have the 60 votes that it needs in the Senate. And depending on which version you're talking about, there's certainly many different versions. Republicans support some of them. President Trump obviously wants other policies tacked on. So it depends on which version you're talking about, but it's very unlikely that any of them will be enacted.
So, Cami, you probably saw this in Politico, but the headline was a little funny. The Republicans are scared spitless because they would rather the president focus forward and not backwards. What are you hearing among other Republican members, or if anything?
Right. We did catch up with Senate Majority Leader John Thune yesterday, where he was peppered with questions of, do you know what the president's going to say tonight? Do you want him to just move on? And while Republicans seem very hesitant to go against the president to say that 2020 was, a real election, the results were certified, John Thune said, that's a closed election that happened 6 years ago. I'm focused on November when all of these races are still open. And I think a lot of Republicans are nervous that if Trump keeps, raising concerns about fraud, the Save America Act isn't in place, that maybe voter turnout will be low. We did see that in 2020 when Trump sowed distrust in mail-in ballots during the pandemic. Voter turnout was pretty low with Republicans in states, and that also led to the losses that they had. So I think there's that concern as well.
Do we know that the president's remarks are about elections, and that's going to be the focus of what he's talking about tonight? And is that why Republicans are thinking, oh boy, here we go, he's going to talk about the 2020 election being stolen?
As with most Trump remarks, nobody knows what the president's going to say until he actually says them. But there is some reporting and there is some inclination that he will be talking about the 2020 election. I've seen reports that maybe he'll talk about the Georgia Senate elections from 2020, where Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock won. There could be questions about, a new investigation that they found findings of. We assume it could be election related, but of course, you never really know until he starts going.
So, Cammie, do you think there's probably large chances that he'll go off topic. Do you think he'll address Iran and the war that's happening there right now?
He may, especially with, him notifying lawmakers last week that the war has restarted in Iran, and this budget bill that they're trying to push through Congress right now is asking for billions of dollars to replenish the money we've already used for military operations. So it is likely that that could be part of the conversation. I assume the Save America Act and elections will take up most of his time.
Do we know anything, Cammie, and this is a little bit off, but why he refused to sign the housing bill, which is now apparently law by virtue of the fact that he didn't sign it within 10 days? Has he commented on that, or is that just old news for him right now?
It's might be old news. He does say that he wants to put the Save America Act above everything else. He did, have a few comments here and there saying he disagreed with some of the policies that were in the housing bill. He's also mentioned that because this was such a bipartisan bill and had a lot of Democratic support, he's pretty skeptical of anything that has that much Democratic support, especially with Elizabeth Warren. Someone he doesn't really like was a main sponsor of this bill. And so that was something that Republicans wanted him to sign. It would give them a lot of good campaign fodder as they head into the midterms, but he just did not want to sign anything before the Save America Act gets to his desk.
I want to just go back with a question about tonight. Do you know how long the president's speech is scheduled for?
I'm not sure. I don't think anybody is really aware. It could, he usually speaks for at least an hour or sometimes more than that, especially depending on how off topic he goes off the teleprompter. But no one is quite sure how long it will be or what will be in it. I've seen, Trump just says nobody knows what's in there except for me. So I guess it's just tune in and see how long it goes.
And Republicans are sitting on the edge of their seat, apparently.
Saying, please don't say that.
Maybe
please don't say
thinking
that.
There's no good to come out of this. It's sad.
All right. Thanks, Cammie. Cammie Mondo, congressional correspondent for the Deseret News. And coming up on Inside Sources, I have some theories about why the president might be bringing up a 6-year-old election just ahead of midterms. I want to talk about that with you next.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you want to walk, play pickleball, and enjoy other fun activities to stay healthy, but you can't because of bad feet? Hi, this is Mike, and the Good Feet store wants to help.
I just had difficulty walking. I tried them on in the store, and my foot felt so much better.
Do you keep buying new shoes and inserts with little or no relief?
I tried all kinds of shoes. It was the arch supports that made the difference from the Good Feet store.
Don't let bad feet, knees, or back problems get in the way of staying healthy and having fun.
Thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm bowling 3 nights a week.
Get back to doing what you love. At the Good Feet store, we'll personally fit you at high-quality arch supports to maximize your comfort. Stop in the Good Feet store or book your free fitting at goodfeet.com. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
Did you ever miss a segment of Inside Sources? You want to hear a conversation, rehear a conversation you particularly liked? Well, subscribe to the Inside Sources podcast. We upload each segment and the full show every weekday afternoon. Just go to kslpodcast.com or follow us wherever you get your podcasts.
Are you a local business tired of juggling deliveries, managing drivers, or sending valuable employees across town? There's a better way. Pigeon Ship. For more than 10 years, Pigeon Ship has provided fast, reliable, same-day and next-day delivery services for businesses throughout Utah. Whether you need a few deliveries a day or hundreds, Pigeon Ship has the network, technology, and experience to get it done on time. Auto parts, plumbing supplies, electrical components, pharmacy deliveries, and more. Utah's most successful businesses trust Pigeon Ship to keep their operations moving. Stop the stress of hiring drivers. Stop pulling employees away from their real jobs. And stop worrying about whether your deliveries will arrive on time. Join the thousands of businesses that rely on Pigeon Ship every day for dependable local delivery solutions. Visit pigeonship.com today to schedule a call and see how quickly Pigeon Ship can streamline your delivery operations. Pigeon Ship. Avoid the trip. Pigeon Ship. That's pigeonship.com. pigeonship.com.
This is Colin Keary from the New Millennium Group. Have you ever had a question for your financial advisor only to find out that the next available appointment is months away? At New Millennium Group, we believe that financial advice should never be limited to once-a-year review meetings. Life happens every single day. Markets change, retirement questions come up, family situations evolve, and when they do, you deserve answers. That's why we pride ourselves at the New Millennium Group on being accessible when our clients need us most. Whether you're wondering about your investments or a major life decision, our team is here to help provide guidance. We're not interested in being the firm you hear from once a year. We want to be your trusted resource throughout your entire retirement journey. If you're looking for a financial team that values relationships, communication, and responsiveness, we'd love to meet you. Give us a call today at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or visit us at utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
The sounds of summer. They're great until they're not. Luckily, AutoZone has free battery testing and charging
Let me check that for you.
to help make a rough moment smooth. Don't miss the Celebrate Free event at AutoZone. Free products with select deals until July 27th. And free services every day. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. When you see this in your kitchen,
The stainless steel fridge is covered in fingerprints.
you hear this.
Leslie, people are going to think you were raised in a barn or by wolves, or raised in a barn by wolves.
Fortunately, Wyman Stainless Steel 3-in-1 cleans, shines, and protects to give you the best shine. A spray and a wipe will have your fridge shining like a mirror.
Wow, my fridge looks brand new. Your fridge looks amazing, Leslie. Sorry, I was being a little dramatic earlier.
Your kitchen says a lot about you. Let it brag with Wyman.
Let me ask you a question. You have a best friend? How big would it shock you if somebody told you that your best friend just killed somebody?
911, what's your emergency? Someone on the other line said they kidnapped my son and they're demanding $500,000.
I've asked myself so many times, what in the world happened?
Ransom is available now. Listen at ransompodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
And expanded Inside Sources.
Well, we know that midterm elections are now less than 4 months away and that the president's going to talk to us tonight about elections. A lot of people think he's going to talk about the past, and you indicate that you thought there was some other motive to what he's talking about today, and maybe the past is a big part of that. The 2020
the 2020 election.
Yeah.
I think by sowing concern, right, by creating doubt that maybe the 2026 elections won't be free and fair elections, that it suppresses voter turnout. So by some calculations, right, if you can suppress voter turnout in places that don't support the president and his agenda, then that's a win. But on the other side, if you suppress voter turnout in places that do support the president and his agenda, then it's not an overall win. And that's one of the things that Cami Mondo said that she's hearing on the Hill, right, is that people are worried, especially in swing districts where really right now all polling indicates that the House is going to flip, that the Senate is on the verge of flipping. It might not. It's uncertain. But when you sow these uncertainties about your vote being counted and election integrity, those types of things, then people, if they feel like their vote might not count or it's somehow rigged, they actually don't go vote.
Yeah, and I think that most Americans do feel like there's a high degree of election integrity, and so sowing these seeds is not good for anyone. I was concerned yesterday when we did talk about some of our people that were being questioned by, in terms of some appointments and talking about do you
The
think
nomination
that,
hearings,
Yeah, the
yeah.
nomination hearings. Well, do you think the 2020 election was legit? Well,
They can't even answer.
Can't answer that, and they can. They
Yeah.
just won't. I mean, people just there are certain.
Yeah.
I have to hand it to J.D. Vance saying we'll accept the midterm results. Good for him for saying that. I don't think that the president's going to say that tonight. I don't think he's going to say that for a minute. But the midterm elections, I mean, the Democrats continue to, shoot themselves in the foot, and having a tremendous opportunity to do something in the midterms to change the House and the Senate. They have fallen short and may not be as easy as the Democrats think. That's just my own take right now. Maybe I'm being pessimistic.
Well, it just like this Politico article that I referenced with the headline of "Scared Spitless," but they said another word. One of the things that they do is they kind of reemphasize what Cammie was telling us, is that nobody actually knows for sure what is in the speech tonight, and that has Republicans scared too, because they don't actually know. They hope that maybe the president would stay focused on how the stock market's doing, how the economy is doing, right? However, there's of course all of these rumblings in D.C. that it's really going to be about rehashing the 2020 election, and Caroline Leavitt just said, "You guys don't know what you're talking about. Nobody knows what's in that speech," and she's like the spokesperson. So
yeah, and she may know.
She may not know.
Yeah, well, she may know that nobody knows. She
Right.
may be right about that, I guess is what I was trying to say. That right now, Trump is upside down in virtually every category in terms of popularity. The war in Iran, the vast majority of Americans are not in favor of. The economy right now, inflation.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing where he is, and he's not even above water, is immigration and the border issue. It's about a 50-50 split by the last poll I saw, whether or not people approved of what he's doing. But he's upside down in everything else. So if he wants to get up there and talk about the economy, now we know the Dow is up and things are doing great there, because Pam Bondi told us that a while ago. But that's not. It's not a. I mean, do people really think about, the Dow's up, my life is good? I don't.
Well, remember, it was the Clinton election where we got the famous phrase, "It's the economy, stupid," right? And it's one of the things, again, like if you feel like it's going in your favor, then use that and talk it up. If you don't feel like it is and you're the challenger, then use that, right? But I think one of the things that's interesting to me is to think about the president is going to address the nation. There's a lot of really important things happening, in my view, including the war in Iran and things that are happening in Ukraine. Of course, there's so much international stuff. Then there's stuff at home with affordability and people feeling like they struggle when they go to the grocery store. And then we hear that he might be talking about a 2020 election. So the best that the nominee for the director of national intelligence could do, he couldn't bring himself to say that Biden had won. He just said the election was certified.
Yeah. I wonder, though, and if this is what's causing Republicans grief, that Americans just don't want to deal with it anymore. That it's 6 years old. Please don't tell us anymore the election was stolen. Because, by the way, Biden's not even the president anymore. So we're talking about something that happened 6 years ago that is now Trump's back in. You won 2024. Let's move on.
Right.
But,
right.
I mean, it is, if he goes down that road, and he probably will, he can't help himself, I don't think it's going to help people. And I think a lot of the Republicans who really are thinking that, hey, there's a high degree of election integrity, the fact that they're not even willing to pass the Save America Act with a majority Republican Senate right now makes you think that they don't feel like the rest of America is on the side of election fraud and thinking that we're all being misled.
Well, Thomas Massie has kind of been a thorn in the president's side. He's a Republican, but he basically said in an interview that he did yesterday, so Republicans have the House, Republicans have the Senate, Republicans have the White House. Why are you complaining about election fraud?
Right, yeah, I know.
Which one of you are here fraudulently?
That's what I don't understand. I mean, he attacked Utah because of our mail-in voting, and I'm like, you give me a break. I mean, he came out huge here in the last 3 presidential elections, even though nationally he lost the second one. First and third, he won Utah all 3.
He did. So that's part of it too. It's like, okay, so which election that you won was fraudulent? Because that's an interesting conversation. So look, there's I think it's going to be an interesting address. I don't know if the president will address any of the other issues facing the country right now, but I know that for people who are in tight races, they're like holding their breath that the president will not hurt their reelection campaigns, right? Because you mentioned we're 4 months, but we're so close to campaign season. Basically, the Congress goes into recess in August. That's in 2 weeks. They're gone for the whole month of August, but a lot of them will be campaigning. They'll only be back a little bit in September, and then it's full-time campaigning until the midterms.
And the vice president saying Republicans will accept midterms results even if the Save America Act isn't passed may be some sort of, I don't know, like getting ahead of the speech tonight a little bit and trying to take a little bit of the wind out of the sails of what could be. I don't know, but that was a brave thing for him to do, and maybe the president's going to come out of the chute and attack that.
And say I disagree with my vice president.
I think that some of his fellow Republicans have told J.D. Vance, hey, you need to get ahead of this a little bit and tell the public, hey, it's not as bad as you think, before the president says it's really bad. The sky is falling.
Well, we'll see tonight. It'll be interesting again to hear the speech and if there's anything. One of the things that Cammie mentioned too, really briefly, was that the president has cast some doubt over the election integrity in Georgia. That was a big focus in 2020 anyway, and that somehow the 2 elected officials that came out of that election were somehow inappropriately elected. I don't know what you can. You can't overturn an election 6 years after the fact, right?
No, it doesn't even do any good to talk about it any more than talking about 60 years ago an election.
That would be interesting. So, okay. So when we come back, we know that KSL News Radio is going to take the president's remarks live beginning at 7:00 tonight. So you can listen to that live, the whole thing, and then join us tomorrow on Inside Sources for in-depth coverage on what the president has said.
And we do want to talk a little bit more about elections, but here locally, claims now of ballots gone missing, plus the lieutenant governor's office is responding to additional threats from the Department of Justice. Let's keep the conversation going in the next hour on Inside Sources.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. KSL's top story this hour. Utah is among the states trying to slow down the constant scam and robocalls hitting our phones. Utah Attorney General Derek Brown says AGs across the country have brought the issue to the FCC, asking for stricter regulation for companies buying and selling phone numbers.
Once people get those numbers, we want to know how they're being used so we can then trace the scam back to its source. So the reality is, if you're a provider who has access to numbers, you should have to certify who actually owns them.
Brown wants Utahns to know they never have to answer the phone for a number they don't recognize. But he also hopes this push will make it easier for everyone to trust the calls they do receive. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Facebook's parent company, Meta, is facing new legal action from a group of former employees who say AI picked who would be fired.
Just yesterday, a group of 26 Meta employees sued the company, claiming it used AI systems to disproportionately target those on medical, parental, and family leave in the layoffs the company announced starting in May, affecting about 10% of its workforce. Meta said in a statement that the claims lack merit and are not based on facts. Workforce management and organizational decisions were and are made by people and not AI.
ABC News Chief Business Correspondent Rebecca Jarvis reporting. The prediction market Kalshi is causing more controversy. They're working to allow people to bet on how many flights will be delayed or canceled at the nation's airports each day. An airline trade group warns it could give bad actors reasons to try and purposefully get flights canceled. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 84 points. At this hour, we're at 52,739. Coming up, we're getting close to triple digits today. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:02. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Utah homeowners, listen up. If your roof is over 15 years old and you've had recent storm damage, now's the time to act. Hey, it's Josh with IWC Roofing, and we've built our reputation on quality, integrity, and taking care of homeowners the right way from start to finish. IWC Roofing, Utah's highest-rated roofing company, is now offering $2,500 off your new roof replacement, plus a free upgrade package to maximize your home's protection and value. But that's not all. We're giving away a free roof. Yep, you heard me. One homeowner will receive a brand new roof free. The winner to be announced August 1st. And here's where it gets even better. When you call and mention this radio ad, you'll receive double entries to win. Appointments are filling up fast, and this offer won't last. Call now for your free inspection and estimate. 801-232-5690. That's 801-232-5690. Save $2,500, get upgraded, and you could win a brand new roof. Call IWC Roofing today, 801-232-5690. Restrictions apply. No purchase necessary. See IWCRoofingUtah.com for details and rules.
Is your financial advisor managing your risk or just a spreadsheet? Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. Many financial advisors rely on target date funds, which are one-size-fits-all portfolios that don't know your name, your family, or your goals. And that passive management can leave you dangerously exposed. At Trajan, we look at the whole picture, not just the stocks everyone else buys, but the private market opportunities most advisors ignore. And as fiduciaries, we build a strategy around you, coordinating your investments, tax strategy, and estate into one cohesive plan. Your financial life deserves more than just a generic portfolio. Real planning isn't a stack of statements. It's the confidence of knowing where your income will come from for the next 30 years. Good enough isn't good enough for your family. It's time for a change. Schedule your complimentary consultation today. Call 855-TRAJAN-1. That's 855-TRAJAN-1.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Private equity investments require accreditation. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Auto loan rates as low as 4.74% APR. And here's Cormac Bone.
Got some light congestion transitioning from northbound I-15 to go westbound on the 201 freeway in South Salt Lake. That's just a little slow there, a little irregular, but otherwise it's regular slowdowns to expect. There's no delays on main flow of I-15, but we are seeing trouble getting onto I-15 in Lehigh, eastbound 2100 North and Pioneer Crossing, both pretty heavy as you try to get onto the freeway. Ready to upgrade your kitchen? Visit one of Bedrock Quartz' modern showrooms or request a quote at bedrockquartz.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
98 degrees for a high, mostly cloudy today with some isolated rainstorms around the state. Heavier storms in central and southern Utah. The rain chances increase tomorrow and remain into next week. Right now it's cloudy and 84 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
The federal government can best help Utah with their elections by letting state leaders perform their required duties without unjustified interference. That's how the Lieutenant Governor's office explained it to the U.S. Department of Justice in a new letter responding to a series of veiled threats against the state's top election official.
And of course, this letter comes after the Department of Justice sent a letter outlining a series of punishments if Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson knowingly broke election laws. And that letter came after the DOJ sued the Lieutenant Governor because she refuses to give private voter information from Utah voters.
So this whole thing is... it's more than exhausting. It's annoying because the DOJ is demanding voter information from states that's not already publicly available. So the lieutenant governor in Utah has already told the DOJ, they will send them everything that's publicly available. We've talked about that on this show. But they also want personal identifying information, including social security numbers and driver's license information and your email. And just those are the types of things that the LG has said, no, I'm not going to give you that. One of the things that's interesting to me is that Lieutenant Governor also noted that the DOJ is now 0 for 14 in court cases demanding this kind of information. And she basically said she hopes they're ready to just, give it up. 14 different judges in different jurisdictions have said, no, you can't get this information.
At some point, hey, we're losing. Let's not do this. But then, Utah, like we talked about before, pretty friendly to the Republicans, not a state where you want to be pushing too hard, but they actually filed a lawsuit, I think, against Lieutenant Governor saying you're going to get this information by hook or crook, and there's potential criminal punishment if you don't supply this. And she's saying, basically, bring it on. I mean, we're doing everything that's right, and I think she's on very strong legal foundation, and I support what we're doing here in Utah. We're doing a good job.
So it's interesting to write. I mean, one of the things that the Lieutenant Governor said in response to the latest letter was that she's like confused at why the DOJ would go after a reliably Republican state. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically like, this is kind of a head scratcher. Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, well, I think that the administration cannot just exempt certain states. If they want to go through and say voter information is going to be part of a national concern, and every state's going to be on board, even if you're already a bright red state, you can't just say, okay, Utah, you're exempted. So I think that the administration is saying, look, everybody's on board with this, or we're going to come after you on an individual basis. It doesn't make sense, and I don't know that it helps the Republican cause here in Utah. But
well, we've talked about it multiple times, right? It's if you want to put all the information in one centralized database, that there's two really big problems with it. One is constitutional.
I was going to say the Constitution is a good start.
The Constitution says that the states have the right to direct. The exact wording,
right? States have the authority to
direct elections.
Direct elections, yeah.
The other problem with it is that a centralized database. In fact, we were just talking about hackers, but the centralized database is a lot easier to hack one thing than it is to hack 3,100 and something, which is the number of counties in the United States that would have to be hacked otherwise. Yeah. So, okay, we have another story that is, I think, a bit of a head scratcher. So, Utah County, where I live, the county clerk said nearly 300 voters never got their primary ballot in the mail, and he doesn't know why. So, to me, that's an interesting story because it's a county office that has been kind of fraught with controversy, to be honest.
Yeah, so it would be one thing, I guess, if that complaint came from any of the other 20 some odd counties, but Utah County, it's a different story. Now, not receiving the mail-in ballot is, I don't know, it's problematic on its face, but it doesn't mean they weren't allowed to vote or they were precluded
from voting. They could still vote, right? They can show up and you can say, hey,
right.
It's called a provisional ballot. You show up the day of and you just say, I never received my ballot, or I lost it, or I moved and so now I need a new ballot, right? There were still opportunities for them to vote. And in fact, that's what Utah County Commissioner Skylar Beltran said, is they had other means of voting. But Aaron Davidson, who's the county clerk, said he doesn't think that there would be any kind of change in election results. And Aaron did lose his re-election bid to be the county clerk. And so he's like, it wouldn't change that outcome or any other outcome. But the U.S. Postal Service says they're stepping in to investigate the matter.
I wonder how they know people didn't receive a mail-in ballot. I mean, do people call?
So Aaron Davidson said that about 24 people contacted his office following the June primary, and all of the calls came from people in the same area of Eagle Mountain. And so he went and talked with the county attorney and said his office sent emails to about 12,000 voters in one particular House district, and then wondering if that was why. So it's interesting because the House district is one where Stephanie Gracious is the representative. She's been a past critic of how Davidson has managed the county's elections, but she didn't have a primary challenger this year, so she wouldn't have been on a primary ballot. However, I think the federal races, they definitely had one.
Yeah, so are we getting this information from the Utah County Clerk? Is he the one that's telling us that these voters didn't get this? And if so, I mean, the timing of that's a little awkward because he just lost his primary election, so he's not going to be around.
I don't know if there's anything nefarious at all. It's just like he's saying, well, our records show that we sent it. You're telling us you didn't receive it. So we're trying to figure out what happened. So, look, every once in a while, and I haven't seen this in this case, but every once in a while I have read news stories where postal workers, like maybe they get behind on their route or something, but they're dumping bags of mail, right? I mean, there are weird things that do happen sometimes.
Sure, and we've all not got something that we expected in the mail.
Or something gets damaged. I got my niece's wedding announcement. Was like, it looked like it had been cut with a box cutter and then put in a Ziploc bag, taped, and then a little note that said, "We're sorry that this happened to your mail." But I also don't want to cast any aspersions on voting by mail. I mean, that method is safe. If you don't receive a ballot, there are other ways for you to vote.
And I don't know how long we've done it in Utah, but it sure has worked well.
More than a decade.
And I'll tell you what, for me personally, living up in the sort of remote area and not living close to where I work would make it hard to vote. Mail-in voting has been really a blessing. I love it.
Yeah, and we have a large degree of trust in our vote by mail system every time we poll on that, in spite of some people who disagree. But look, to your point, rural Utah, people with disabilities, people with young kids at home, people who work swing shift or other shifts, those are all people who really, really rely on vote by mail. But interesting that there are some 300 voters who are saying, I didn't receive a ballot.
Yeah, well, hopefully they'll get to the bottom of that and figure out what happened. And
if they were asking my kids, they would say, what ballot?
Yeah, right.
Because they don't pay attention.
But November's not that far away, so that glitch, whatever it was, should be sorted out by then, and people will get their mail-in votes, and we'll be doing mail-in voting at least in Utah this year for at least another session.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, at least for the next election. And, just a quick reminder that Utah did change the law about when the ballots have to be in hand. And so you can't wait to the last minute anymore. I think that was pretty clear, but it has to be in hand by day of election. So, give yourself at least a week's grace. All right, this next part, next on Inside Sources, we're going to talk about domestic violence calls because they're going up. They go up in the summer, but you know what? I also saw that they go up during the World Cup. We're going to break that down after this break.
Hey, so what have I told you that 4 weeks from now, your energy can be up, your confidence can be up, your weight can be down, the way your summer clothes fit can look better, and you're still got some summer left. That's what Soda Dynamic Diet can do for you. A degreed nutritionist will build a plan around your body. Call 866-800-SODA, mention this radio station, and guess what? You'll get 4 weeks free. And in 4 weeks, you can make a huge difference. My first 4 weeks, I lost 18 pounds. And it was great for me, and it'll be great for you too. And it was nice to do it before the summer because vacations are booked, pictures are coming, pools, that type of thing. Don't sit on the sidelines. Start now with Soda. SOTA. That is no shots, no pills, no crazy restrictions. Get the first 4 weeks for free when you call 866-SODA, SOTA, and mention KSL News Radio. SodaDietNutrition.com is what saved me and got me where I need to be. And I've been on the program now for over 4 months, and I have kept the weight off. Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. I'm here with Monty from Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. And I was thinking the other day, Monty, that every water softener I've ever seen has a giant tank that holds bags and bags of water softener salt. Well, except one, the one I have in my home. And I picture this, my Connecticut has the little salt tank about the size of a paper shredder or a small trash can.
Well, Doug, that's because the Connecticut water softeners use so much less salt, an average of
70% less than other water softeners, so you don't need a tank that holds 6 or 8 bags of salt.
I love the fact that it's so easy to fill because I don't have to lift those bags up so high, and it seems like those bags of salt, well, they're getting heavier every year.
Yes, it does. When you're using 1 bag of salt for every 3 a regular water softener uses, there's no need for a large salt tank.
Tired of lifting those heavy salt bags to fill your giant water softener salt tank? Go to softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com.
Jeff Kaplan here, Xfinity Wi-Fi customer. I don't know how bad inflation's going to be in the months and years ahead, but I do know the inflation rate is 0 with the Xfinity Wi-Fi 5-year price lock guarantee. The most intelligent Wi-Fi that even fixes itself when there's a problem. Wi-Fi that hits every corner of your home, powered by fiber, built for speed. All of the benefits of the Xfinity network with 99.999% reliability and a 5-year price lock guarantee. Same price for 5 years, and this is important, no contracts, no commitments. Plus, you can get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. You get everything you need. It's all included. Data, the best equipment, and the most reliable Wi-Fi. Yours within minutes. The price locked in for 5 years. Go to Xfinity.com or visit a store today. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Select plans only.
You know, I used to think all money managers were the same until I spoke with Fisher Investments.
Really? How different are they?
Fisher's investment counselors are dedicated to service, not sales, keeping clients up to date on their portfolio.
Well, they probably just invest in a bunch of mutual funds like I do.
Nope. They build a tailored portfolio based on their clients' personal goals, helping them stay on track for a comfortable retirement.
Well, they must make commissions selling products.
Actually, Fisher doesn't sell any commission-based products. They're a fiduciary, and they believe that's a conflict.
Then they have some kind of complex fee structure.
Nope. Fisher has a simple, transparent fee that's a percentage of their client's portfolio. So they do better when their clients do better.
It sounds like Fisher really is different.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Fisher Investments. Clearly different wealth management. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com/different. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I volunteer with United Way to help the homeless in my community learn computer skills and build a basic resume. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, a gripping new 9-part investigative podcast about a serial killer you've probably never heard of, Warren Forrest, a sadistic predator who prowled the Pacific Northwest in the early 70s. He hid behind the deeds of Ted Bundy, and he's only been convicted of 2 murders, but is suspected of many more. Since the release of Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, a witness identified in the podcast could lead investigators to the remains of Jamie Grissom.
He ran into the woods. He said he stumbled. As he fell down, he looks up and sees the body of a young woman.
And now the FBI is testing forensic evidence that had been collecting dust for decades. This cold case is now red hot. Binge the entire season of Stolen Voices of Dole Valley right now, wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the latest breaking news.
And expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
Well, domestic violence calls are up both here in Utah and around the world, and the summer season and the World Cup, the soccer tournament, are both being credited for this rise.
Yeah, and it makes me sad. It makes me angry a little. And look, when it comes to the World Cup, you and I were talking during the break, like, what happens there? Well, there's a charity in the UK that said that their domestic violence calls were on the rise. Whether the England team wins or loses, they rise when they lose. When they win, they rise even more when they lose, right? And it just, like, really?
You know, I wonder if it's because people are drinking. They go out, they watch the team play, because we all know people who are just terrible drunks. I mean, people who have no business drinking, and when they do, they become bad people. They become violent, they become angry. Even like you say, the team wins, but boy, they go home angry and
or maybe they're not angry, but they just lose their filter. Like, I don't even know. Yeah. Look, it's not okay. It's not okay. So One of the things too that in Utah, we've talked about this around the holidays, but domestic violence does increase around the holidays, but also during the summer months, and it does seem to be maybe associated with more time together, face-to-face time. I don't know, but KSL News Radio did a story yesterday that really spoke with one of the nonprofits in Utah that deals with victims of domestic violence. It's Support Voices of Survivors. And they say, absolutely, we get more people reaching out for services during the summer.
And domestic violence is one of those situations. Of course, in my practice, both as a former prosecutor and as a defense attorney, you just deal with it so much, so often. And it's like DUI. We try to create new laws, try to create new situations. We try to train our officers, victim advocates, people, just resources that are available for victims of domestic violence, but it still occurs, and it still occurs in numbers that I just do not understand. I mean, I guess it's easy for me to say, but I talk to women a lot who are victims of domestic violence, and again, you cannot be critical because it's never the victim's fault, but you kind of wonder why people continue to put up with it. I know that's an unfair question because there are a lot of reasons.
I think it's a good question, and we've actually had an opportunity to talk to people about that. And one of the reasons they stay is it's sometimes hard to recognize when it's you, right? Because there's gaslighting and emotional manipulation. Sometimes it's hard to see it, but sometimes it's because they think their life is in danger and or their children's lives, and so they stay so that they can stay alive, right? And that is something that we also know, for example, that domestic violence calls are some of the most dangerous for our law enforcement officers.
They are. Yeah, you don't know what you're getting into when you come out to something like that, because there's this idea, if I can't have her, no one will. And
well, that's what happened up in Box Elder County, right?
And
Last summer.
Suddenly you've got a situation where somebody says, I'm going out with a bang. I'm going to make a point here. And then you have situations where people become so upset with each other, and it goes both ways, but let's be honest, most of the time perpetrators are male, where they want to hurt the other party so badly that they do something against their own children.
Oh, yeah,
they'll harm a child to make the mother or father upset. I mean, that's
really horrible.
Almost incredible to me.
It's horrible. In Utah, we've talked about adding in the lethality assessment, the LAP, right? Lethality assessment protocol. Do you want to remind our listeners about what that does for law enforcement?
Yeah, so what it does is it gives the officers a checklist. When they go out on a domestic violence situation and they're interviewing both the perpetrator and the victim, they'll do their checklist and they'll get a lethality assessment, and they'll, based on that assessment, they can learn, based on years and years of research, what sort of resources might be appropriate and what level of intervention law enforcement needs to have. One thing we do now with law enforcement in domestic violence situations is separate the parties. It used to be you go there, you say knock it off, and you come back an hour later and something bad has happened. Now it's almost by default that officers will say, okay, we need to take one of you out of the home. Sometimes that means going to the local jail, and sometimes it means you're just not going to be back there, and they have some level of no contact or restraining or whatever you want to call it, but just get away. And I think that makes a lot of sense. Of course, it's got to be enforceable, and the way it's the most enforceable is to put one party in jail. It's really very enforceable then. but I get too many calls from the jail, and including this last week, where you're just kind of like, okay, sometimes that's not the best approach. But when both parties are mature and they agree to separate, that's one thing. But then, of course, who stays in the house? Who keeps the kids? What do you do? Who decides who moves out?
Well, I mean, you saying that makes me think in my head, is it mature to beat and threaten your partner? Like, that doesn't gel with me.
No.
In a level of maturity, right? So would somebody who does that actually have the cognitive wherewithal to say, yeah, I probably should get out of this situation and I'm not going to make it worse? It seems uncommon, at least.
No, I agree. And a lot of it is over finances. A lot of it's over children. A ton of it is over alcohol use. I don't know what it is about alcohol that just brings out the worst in so many people. Like, just quit drinking. It's easy for me to say, but I mean, if you've got an abusive spouse and an abusive environment, alcohol just is what throws fuel on those flames.
Common sense.
Right.
Look, one of the things that I learned when I was learning about the lethality assessment protocols is choking. And I think that puts domestic violence in a high-risk situation. And I know that I've read reporting after Utah has implemented these LAPs across the board that women did not realize that was a key indicator for potential lethality, right? I mean, that they could be killed because their partner choked them.
Right, and it enhances a domestic violence situation from when a choking is involved. It's a threat to bodily injury or to death.
Yeah,
and so it makes it a felony.
Yeah.
If one party is choked, that's a serious bodily injury. I mean, at least a threat to serious bodily injury. So that's something new, and we've done a lot of new things with domestic violence cases, including what we talked about before, this lethality assessment to teach law enforcement officers. But virtually every law enforcement agency in the state now has a domestic violence advocate, a person that can meet with the victim and say, here's what is available to you. Here are the resources. And sometimes it's just a pamphlet that you can call the local shelter or just whatever, and or a counseling center or something like that. But you've got to get resources to people because otherwise they don't know what to do. Right. That's helped a little bit. But again, we're talking about this, so we're not doing everything right yet.
Well, right. And we know that domestic violence homicides, so in Utah, at least 1 in 3 homicides are related to domestic violence.
Yeah, no surprise.
20% of female adults in Utah have reported being physically hurt by an intimate partner. One of the things I think the legislature has done is broaden it out from a committed partnership / marriage to even potentially dating violence. Or, I one of the stories I remember hearing when they were discussing a bill on the Hill about dating violence is a woman who was literally thrown from a moving car by her date.
Yeah.
He literally threw her from a car. Like, what? And yet the domestic violence statutes didn't apply to him because they weren't in a committed relationship. It was a date.
Yeah, those laws are being changed a little bit too, and they're for the better. But even the whole idea of domestic violence, if assault occurs between two people who just don't like each other, that's one thing. But if they happen to have a relationship, intimate or whatever you want to call it, that enhances it. And it also makes it enhanceable for 10 years. So where you can get most misdemeanors expunged after 4 or 5 years, domestic violence, because it's enhanceable, you may not be able to ever get it expunged. And sometimes it prevents you from possessing a firearm if you have a conviction involving domestic violence.
I think the changes made a couple of years ago because of the lieutenant governor losing her cousin to domestic violence, right, and really elevating it into the consciousness, being able to share across law enforcement offices really, or departments, really made that something where you can track. It's like, oh, well, you've had 6 previous calls, just not in this county. Okay.
Yeah, coming up on Inside Sources.
Wait, I have to add this. I'm so sorry.
No.
If you are under threat, you can go to the Utah Domestic Violence Coalition website or call their hotline. It's confidential, 24-hour, 1-800-897-LINK. That's 5465. Thanks, Greg.
And I serve with that commission, by the way. Coming up on Inside Sources, as a parent, have you ever felt like a failure, like you messed up or your relationship with your kids and you're not going to be able to ever fix it?
Well, after the break, we're going to have a special half an hour with a licensed therapist where we're going to talk about the ways parents can support their kids, they support other parents, and how we can have these tough conversations. I'm really excited about this, so stay with us.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story: combine agriculture and tourism, and you get a growing Utah industry. It's called agritourism. Think petting zoos, corn mazes, and apple picking.
Even just spending an afternoon on a farm gives you more appreciation for how the food supply works and all the effort it takes to get food onto people's tables.
Carolyn Scheidel with the Utah Department of Agriculture and Food says the industry has grown by 600% over the last 20 years and generates almost $45 million each year in Utah. Our top national story this hour from ABC News: some encouraging signs about the economy in the latest weekly employment report.
Analysts were anticipating a slight rise in first-time claims for jobless benefits. Instead, the number has fallen from 216,000 applications 2 weeks ago to 208,000 last week. The Labor Department also reports declines in the 4-week moving average and in the total number of people on unemployment, at just over 1.8 million.
ABC's Jim Ryan reporting. President Trump plans to address the nation in a primetime speech, but the main topic is not expected to be Iran. Reuters reports the president wants to talk about the 2020 election and the ability China had to impact the election. We will carry the speech live. It begins at 7 p.m. Your money at this moment. The Dow is down now 48 points. We're at 52,621. Coming up, more scattered thunderstorms. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:32. A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Can you hear it? That's the sound of nature waking up in Box Elder County. Summer's fully underway. Come see who's flocking to Box Elder. From grebes to geese, Bear River Bird Refuge is alive with the sound of thousands of wings. It's not just the birds you're invited. There's plenty for you to enjoy. Experience the world-class minerals at Crystal Hot Springs. Stand on the spot where the railroads joined and forge the destiny of a nation at Golden Spike National Historical Park. Check out the jaw-dropping murals up and down Tremonton's charming Main Street. The list goes on and on. Hungry? From fine dining to classic comfort food, Box Elder County has something that's sure to hit the spot. In Box Elder County, the air is fresher, the sky is wider, and spring is in full bloom. Come wake up your senses and plan your spring escape at visitboxeldercounty.com. Produced in partnership with the Utah Office of Tourism.
Higher taxes, soaring inflation, record low interest rates, and the skyrocketing cost of healthcare. The list goes on. Retiring successfully today is a lot more complicated than ever before. Learn how you can tackle the biggest challenges that you'll face in retirement today. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio. It's this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL News Radio 1027.
Right now, JCW's has 15 bus and billboards depicting our delicious, mouthwatering hamburgers across I-15. We've also just learned that I-15 averages 15 fender benders a day. Probably a coincidence, but just in case, keep your eyes on the road. Here's what our burgers sound like. Now with your hands at 10 and 2, safely turn into one of our 5 locations at American Fork, Lehigh, Provo, South Jordan, and Harriman. JCW's. Quality and a lot of it.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-822-1490. That's 800-822-1490. 800-822-1490.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. And here's Cormac Bone.
Roadways looking really good. No out of the ordinary delays to expect. I-15 running clean and clear between Ogden and Provo. No delays on I-80 from Tooele County over to Summit County. We do have a little bit of delay on northbound Legacy Highway just after 5th South as you come in through Bountiful. That might be a little bit slow, especially compared to this time in the morning as usual. Attention property managers, customers, see your parking lot first. If it's cracked, they're already walking away. Call GoPave Utah. Seal coating, crack sealing, striping, patching across the Wasatch Front at GoPaveUtah.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
We should get up to 98 today, mostly cloudy. We have a chance of a thunderstorm this afternoon, primarily over the mountains. Then we have a chance of rain every day for the next 7 days. A good chance of rain tomorrow. Right now, it's cloudy and 84 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
So parenting has made me really humble. And I don't know if there are very many parents who haven't felt like a failure at some point. In fact, we've talked about how many times a year parents feel like failures. But sometimes those thoughts and feelings can make it hard to keep a close relationship with your kids. And not having that relationship makes it even harder to have tough but important conversations with your kids.
And we've been conscious about this week, and hopefully some people have benefited from this, but we've been focusing on preparing parents for back to school season by talking about ways to have tough conversations with your kids. We've talked about dangers of technology, AI, chatbots. We talked about bullying, and how to prevent that. We're going to learn more today.
We are. And, if you missed previous chats, you can check out the Inside Sources podcast to hear the segments. You can find our podcast at kslpodcasts.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
So for the next two segments, we have a special guest and a special treat. We're really focusing on parents, and we're joined in studio by licensed marriage and family therapist and KSL contributor, Dr. Liz Hale. Thank you so much for being here in person.
It's a pleasure, Greg and Holly. What a joy. And I walked in, it's like, okay, so I've got two experts right here in front of me, so I'm going to be
you're our
leaning
expert
on
now,
you
so
a
yes.
bit as well, my friends.
Well, I wanted to, before I even get to the basics, I wanted to just transition and from what we talked about in the last segment, which was domestic violence and how it increases in the summer, to conversations about how do I, as a parent, help educate my children as they enter into the dating years? And I've got a granddaughter that we're raising. She's only 11 and not dating. Oh, thank goodness. That would be weird. But I also have young adults who are dating, and I want to be able to be a supportive parent, but have conversations on warning signs and, how do you enter into that space about potential dating violence even?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's such a good question. And, I love to even say, when do we start to have conversations, right? Yeah. When do we start? And what would you two suggest? When do we start to have difficult conversations?
Earlier.
I'd say the earlier the better.
The earlier the better. Never too early. Probably day one we start talking. We bring that infant home. That infant's already used to your voice, your intonation. We start talking about filling up a dirty diaper. Good job. Right. We start talking about the body and the functions of the body very early on, and then a child reaches a toddler stage and they're in the bathtub and we're talking about body parts and we're getting really comfortable, mom and dad using penis and vulva and all the correct terms.
Right.
And then it sets a precedence for then talking about maturity, maturation, and menstruation, and then dating. So naturally, hopefully, it just lends itself to that same kind of ease of conversation that I love you and I care about what's important to you. I think the best modeling we can do for children, especially children who are dating, is giving them modeling of how we love them, that we love them unconditionally. And we can't have an ounce of anger or disappointment, because that's usually about us. If I'm angry or disappointed, it's like I've made myself the center of the universe. But if we really do put a child front and center, I think that is the really key place to start. So start early. Start by modeling how you love them and you want the best for them. And then use this information that came out. The summer is high with domestic violence. What do you, dear child, think about that? Who do you know that has been experiencing domestic violence in your peer group? Who do we know in our neighborhood or even in our family system?
Oh, yeah.
None of us are that far from it. How do you suppose so-and-so got involved in that? What do you think? What would you say to her? I think kids are just so bright and they're so wise, but sometimes they get stuck. And the best thing you can do is say, I will always be here for you. Because sadly, we can't make those decisions for them, but we can love them.
Right. And we can also love each other, because I think that kids are watching mom and dad.
You bet they are.
They're watching their friends and family and some of their leaders and seeing how they treat one another.
You bet.
And that's important. I mean, I find just in my own practice doing criminal law that kids who are the products of families who have domestic violence often turn to domestic violence because whether right or wrong, they sort of think that's what you do.
We do what we know.
Right.
Right, sadly. So you're right, Greg. I love that point of modeling those great, healthy relationships. And if you are a mother and you're divorced, point to other couples. You know, you want that for them. So even if there is divorce, not all hope is lost, but just say, look at, Uncle Jack and Aunt Peggy, they have a really good marriage. You could be like them. And what are you wanting for in your life? This is your life. You get to decide. You get to choose.
So just part of what happens in my head when I think about tough conversations with kids is, for me, almost all of my kids are adults.
Yes.
And things have changed in a parenting relationship, right, as they get older. And I feel like you have to try and navigate a line between I'm supportive, but I don't want to be enabling, and I don't want to be avoidant. Like, how do we even figure that out as relationships change as the kids get older?
That's true. And I think anytime we're avoidant or hovering, it's all about fear.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's so interesting because we have birth doulas, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we have death doulas. But we don't have child or teen doulas.
Oh, we need those.
So we do, and yet there's great information,
Yeah.
right? One of my favorite websites, I just think is brilliant, is realloveparents.com.
Oh.
I'm going to give you some resources because there's no way we can touch base on everything today, Greg and Holly, as you know. But realloveparents.com, boy, it's one of the best resources I've seen on parenting, and it takes you through the bullying to children who whine, all the way through adolescence and safe dating and domestic violence. It's the whole gamut. So I can't say enough about that because I think we just get scared, right? We don't know enough, and we don't have to have all the answers. But I would love for children, teens, to look to their parents as the first line of resource.
Yeah, sure.
And if I don't have the answers, honey, I'm going to find out, and I'll get back to you in 2 days. And make sure, Mom and Dad, that you do follow up.
Yeah.
How do you this is a hard one, but I often see people who are the victims of violence and who live in those settings and wonder, why do you stay? And that's a completely naive approach because I know better. People do stay, but I don't know what the message is to people. Either get out of it or change it. And maybe there's not a real black and white answer to that.
Right. And is it just up to the individual? So is it what they've known? It feels comfortable. They feel they don't deserve more. I have a cousin who recently left a very difficult relationship and went to a halfway house, but she had to do that on her own.
Yeah.
It was when the time was right and when she said no more. So I wish we don't really have more control. All we can do is love and support. I believe in you. You've got this. There's another great resource I just found out about. I really wanted to share with our listeners today. It's called letgrow.org. Let Grow. I think that is so cool because sometimes as parents we do hover, or aunties or uncles. We do want to make a difference and we want to protect, and the world is full of things to be afraid of, I suppose. But this Let Grow is exceptional. It's really based on kindergarten to 8th grade about doing things that are difficult, breaking away from mom and dad supporting it. Like instead of be careful, it's like, I believe in you. Be careful. You can do it. Instead of be careful, be home by dark maybe. But you go through different experiences of doing a little bit of homework once a month, of doing something that's difficult like climbing a tree or riding your bike to school, doing something that's out of your comfort zone. Maybe when you're 16 on up or whenever you allow your children to date, it's getting a present to a friend, or it's having a party, boy-girl party, doing something that pushes your comfort zone. I think that's so great, Let Grow. Because sometimes parents really feel like a failure, and I think fear just gets in the way. So when we can help with that independence and that feeling good, I think that's one of the best things we can do for children. Could that help them make better decisions when they feel competent and confident?
Yeah. All right. Next on Inside Sources, we're going to keep this conversation on tough conversations between parents and kids, and parents, actually, because we have so many questions. Stay with us.
Are you a local business tired of juggling deliveries, managing drivers, or sending valuable employees across town? There's a better way. Pigeon Ship. For more than 10 years, Pigeon Ship has provided fast, reliable, same-day and next-day delivery services for businesses throughout Utah. Whether you need a few deliveries a day or hundreds, Pigeon Ship has the network, technology, and experience to get it done on time. Auto parts, plumbing supplies, electrical components, pharmacy deliveries, and more. Utah's most successful businesses trust Pigeon Ship to keep their operations moving. Stop the stress of hiring drivers. Stop pulling employees away from their real jobs. And stop worrying about whether your deliveries will arrive on time. Join the thousands of businesses that rely on Pigeon Ship every day for dependable local delivery solutions. Visit pigeonship.com today to schedule a call and see how quickly Pigeon Ship can streamline your delivery operations. Pigeon Ship. Avoid the trip. Pigeon Ship. That's pigeonship.com. Pigeonship.com.
There's nothing like getting outside, moving, and enjoying time with friends. Utah offers endless ways to get outdoors and stay active. Pickleball, hiking, biking, and more. Staying healthy is fun if you do it safely. Intermountain Health recommends taking time to stretch, warm up, stay hydrated, and pace yourself. These small steps keep activities safe and enjoyable for everyone. Because when you make health and safety part of every activity, you're taking care of what matters most: your life, your health.
Join KSL Radio's Amanda Dixon this Friday from 3 to 5 at the Salt Lake NPS store at 1600 Empire Road, npsstore.com.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you spend half your day walking or standing while working? If you have foot, knee, or back problems, the Good Feet store wants to help you like we helped Tony.
Pain that I experience the most is foot pain from being on my feet all day. You're having to kind of talk to yourself through the whole shift, like, I got this, I can do this. Before, I felt defeated, and now it's like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. A whole new life, like sunshine coming on.
And how about working more comfortably, like Dennis?
Working at an amusement park, it's always on your feet. I just couldn't take it, but I didn't have a choice. I just couldn't believe that putting these arch supports in made that much of a difference that quickly. I could do my job and I could take care of my family. I know what my tomorrow is going to be. It's going to be positive.
You deserve a better life too. Stop in the Good Feet store today. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
When you see this in your kitchen,
the stainless steel fridge is covered in fingerprints.
you hear this.
Leslie, people are going to think you were raised in a barn or by wolves, or raised in a barn by wolves.
Fortunately, Wyman Stainless Steel 3-in-1 cleans, shines, and protects to give you the best shine. A spray and a wipe will have your fridge shining like a mirror.
Wow, my fridge looks brand new. Your fridge looks amazing, Leslie. Sorry, I was being a little dramatic earlier.
Your kitchen says a lot about you. Let it brag with Wyman.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Any Hour Services can make sure your AC keeps you cool this summer. Whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Inside Sources.
Well, I love these conversations, and I'm glad we're able to have these conversations, and I want to continue this for a second segment. So we've invited Dr. Liz Hale, licensed marriage and family therapist and KSL contributor, to stick around, and she has agreed.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hale. So one of the things I wanted to ask about difficult conversations, too, is conversations that can be really, they'd have to be emotionally charged, telling your kids that you're going to get a divorce, for example. And then earlier this morning when I was on with Andy and Amanda wanted me to ask you specifically about step-parenting, co-parenting, those types of conversations, because those are difficult as well.
Mm-hmm. So more about how to be a good step-parent? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Or even the conversations, right, between your child that maybe now you're co-parenting with your ex, or conversations between the adults.
Yes, yeah. I mean, ideally, the adults would be the adults, right?
You would think.
Yes, that is the ideal. Parents really set the way, and I have such respect for step parents, those who sign up and say, you know what, maybe I don't know what I'm getting into, but I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to open my heart and to love other children. I just have such great admiration for that. And it catches them off guard. It is difficult. Not an easy road. Very high divorce rate for that reason. You know, Amanda Dixon, I often think of her when I think of this, just to compliment her. When we worked together years ago, she said something one day about, maybe it was a stepchild who said something about, I don't know that my mom really loves me. And Amanda was like, oh, yes, she does. Oh, no, that is not true. Oh, yes, she does. I loved that. I thought that was so beautiful, that stepmother would be so supportive of that biological mother. So I think when adults are adults is the best gift that they could give their children. And it's a second chance to have a happy life. And I hope that step-parents or second marriages, third marriages will get some help. We know more than ever before about what makes a marriage thrive. So don't do it on your own, because I don't know that we can. You know, we're just mere mortals trying to work it through. Yeah, we all need help.
And what can we talk to the parents about when they're introducing children to step-parents? I mean, what can they... I know this is a question that probably has a 40-minute answer, but what can they tell kids about, okay, this person's now in your life that will help that relationship flourish? Because I know there's always that, well, you know, it's not my daddy, and you don't get to tell me what to do, and whatever. But what can the real parent, the natural parent, do to encourage that relationship?
That is such a great question, and the natural parent really is key. They set a precedence. This is my sweetheart. This is the one I love the most, more than anything. And I love you. And we're both going to be the adults here in this home. So you will be learning and being loved by both of us, right? The two of us. I think those are the supervisors that I'm closest to who really say, I think both parents need to get involved, whether they're the bio parent or not. But the bio parent initially needs to set that precedence. I love you. And she is going to do her best to also love you, and we're going to create our own special memories together. And we support Mom that lives in the other house. You'll be going between two homes. I don't think it's an easy thing for kids. No one wants to pack up their bags and go elsewhere, and sometimes they have no choice. So let's make it as easy as possible for them. If there was high conflict in that marriage, then perhaps divorce was the very best thing. But let's not continue the conflict now that we are divorced. We live in different homes. Let's let that create some peace for us so we can co-parent effectively.
I wanted to ask you about having conversations with other parents when maybe there's some bullying going on. And it can look a lot of different ways. Yeah. I have had kids who were bullied, and I have been contacted by other parents saying, hey, your kid's acting inappropriately. I appreciate that, but not everybody does appreciate being told that your kid is acting up. And in fact, sometimes I'm really concerned at the dismissal of, oh, boys will be boys, or, oh, why are you such a Karen caring about, something that's none of your business or whatever. How do we have conversations with other parents? And do we even need to try to have those conversations, I guess?
I think it's great when our youth can do their own relationships, right? But sometimes they need our help in navigating that, especially with bullying. I think the first time it's like, I don't like it when you do that. You teach your child to be very direct. I don't like it when you do that. Next time it's like, if you do that again, I will involve an adult. And the third time, then I would involve a parent and have parents go to bat for that child. If it's with the school or the other parent, I think when a parent is talking to us and wanting to talk about the relationship of our children, I would listen. Tell me all about it. I want to hear. I'm not going to defend my child. I'm not going to be angry, but maybe there's some really juicy, ripe information I need to know about my child or about this relationship. And then I'm going to go to my child and we're going to have a discussion again without any anger, without any disappointment. It's unconditional love. Teaching them how to navigate their relationships.
No parent wants to see their child in an abusive relationship.
No.
But some do. And what I see, and I don't know how to handle this situation, or I certainly would never advise somebody, but a parent who can say to, let's say it's their daughter, hey, you need to get rid of that son of a gun. Instead, the daughter makes the decision to go with the son of a gun and alienate the parent. So I don't know how you you would advise people, I know this is another hard question that I'm throwing at you, how to advise a child to work out a tough relationship without losing your own relationship with the child.
Yeah. To how to keep that connection going strong.
Right.
Right. And sometimes adult children make different decisions.
Right.
And it makes it impossible to have a relationship. It's really crushing, isn't it? It's heartbreaking. But I think for parents and trying to be our best selves, family members, just to keep our arms wide open. I will always be here for you. I love you. And I'm going to let you make your own life choices. This is your life. I think the more we keep giving the responsibility back to a child or a teen or an adult child, the more ownership they take of that. It's like, oh gosh, this really is my life. I really am in charge here. I'm responsible for my choices. I remember when I first felt that way in my 20s, like, I didn't want all that responsibility. I wanted it to be my parents or somebody else. So it's a bit daunting, but I think we can just keep simply reminding them that I love you, I am here for you, and you're going to make your life choices, and I have to respect that. I will respect that.
So I had a situation with one of my older kids, and I think I have gone more towards the I'm going to be a safe space when this all comes crashing down around your head. But one of my daughters, she was 18. She was in an abusive relationship. I felt like everybody but her could see it. And maybe she was really, in the relationship as part of defiance to mom and dad. I don't know, because we're like, don't do it. She came to us and she's like, I want to marry this guy. And I had to go, like, I was going to my friends saying, how do I be supportive when I'm not supportive? Like, how do I throw a wedding for a child that's getting into a really bad situation?
Mm-hmm. And one, you don't have to throw a wedding. Right? You get to have your own. You kind of have your own standards.
I kind of had to. I didn't end up having to because she ended up ending the relationship, and in fact, she got him sent to jail for domestic violence. So
she
good
found
for
her voice, Holly,
did.
and so somewhere along the lines, she learned from you, likely, and your husband, that this is really not okay. I wish that happened sooner. I'm sorry she had to go through that. But then again, is anything really wasted? Doesn't everything teach us in this life? And it shows us who we are a bit and our resiliency. So
I have a good friend who says this. She's, as we're thinking about parenting adult children, because it's so different. She says, it's their mistakes to make. They're their mistakes to make, right? She keeps telling herself that. Their mistakes to make. I'll be here when, when it crashes. Right? And I've seen that as my kids have gotten older. They make some mistakes, but they're their mistakes to make.
And, going back to the modeling idea, Greg, I think kids are still watching their parents. Adult children are still watching their parents. What are we doing as adults in their lives, support systems, to keep our own life going? What are we working on in the way of our careers or our hobbies? Where are we having fun? Are we bringing things into our life that are good so that we keep modeling healthy living?
Yeah.
We don't stop.
Just really, that has been such a great conversation. I really appreciate you joining us in studio, Dr. Liz Hale, licensed marriage and family therapist. So thanks for that. And I wonder if you could give our listeners again the two resources that you mentioned.
You bet. LetGrow.org is one of them, and realloveparents.com. And I just want to add The Anxious Generation, Jonathan Haidt's new book. It's fascinating on really looking at the smartphone that is not so smart, not making us any smarter, that maybe the flip phone is a way to go. I know that might be controversial, but I believe.
All right.
I believe.
Thanks so much. Such a great conversation. And if you've missed any of our tough conversations with kids coverage, you can, again, check out the Inside Sources podcast to hear those segments.
And when we come back after the break on the next hour of Inside Sources, we're going to talk about robocalls. Ugh. We don't really like those. We're going to talk to our Attorney General about what the FCC and what he can do about those. We'll be right back.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Cameron Elliott. KSL's top national story this hour from ABC News. Negotiations between the U.S. and Iran appear stalled out as both sides threaten the other with additional airstrikes. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers has more.
Yesterday, the president said that Iran is not happy right now, doesn't like what the United States is doing, and he says Iran wants to settle, but no indication at this point of where negotiations go, because Iran, of course, continues to fire back every time the United States has launched another wave of strikes over the last 5 days.
Other national stories KSL is following. President Trump's longtime teleprompter operator is believed to have made tens of thousands of dollars by placing bets on several of the president's speeches on the prediction market Kalshi. ABC's Peter Haralambous has more.
When President Donald Trump approached the podium to deliver his State of the Union address in February, one of the few people who knew what he was about to say was allegedly setting himself up to profit from the president's words. Gabriel Perez, a technical assistant to the president who's been operating Trump's teleprompter since 2016, is in talks with federal regulators to settle allegations that he used inside knowledge of more than a dozen of the president's speeches to win more than $100,000 on prediction market Kalshi, sources told ABC News. Kalshi's lawyers said they referred the suspicious trades to regulators, and the White House says Perez is fully cooperating. Peter Haralambous, ABC News.
Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow Jones is up 134 points, that's 0.25%. The S&P 500 is down 10 points, that's 0.1%. And the Nasdaq is down 185 points, that is 0.7%. Coming up, we've got some storms on the horizon. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:02.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Well, it's official. My friends have all switched to Pure Talk because I told them they could save a bunch of money on a super reliable high-speed network with unlimited data. And because they're my friends, they trust me. As for the rest of you, well, Pure Talk understands that even though you might like me, you're not just going to take my word for it, nor should you. For that reason, and for a very limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited plan that normally sells for $65 a month. Think of it like a test drive, a super simple way to save $150 while you kick the tires on Pure Talk's blazing fast network, and a fine way to see for yourself why I switched from Big Wireless, along with a few 100,000 of my closest friends. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and be connected to Pure Talk's friendly U.S. customer service team. Again, dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
This is Nate Orchard from Advanced Window Products. When you live in Utah, your windows do a lot more than let the light in. They protect your home from freezing winters, blazing summers, and everything in between. That's why Advanced Window Products builds every window for your local climate. No middleman, no out-of-state delays, just factory direct quality, custom made for your home. Imagine a quieter home, a warmer home, a cooler home. Our high-efficiency vinyl windows are engineered to lower your energy bills and boost your comfort all year round. And installation is done by our own certified in-house crews, never subcontractors. That's why Utah homeowners give us 5-star reviews. Right now, take advantage of our anniversary sale. For a limited time, get $2,500 off when you buy 10 or more windows. Call 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100. For 40 years, Advanced Window Products has been the name Utah trusts for custom replacement windows and sliding glass doors. Advanced Window Products, built here, installed here, trusted here. Call 801-850-9100 for that $2,500 off, or visit us at advancedwindows.com to schedule your free in-home estimate.
It is July, and it is getting hot. For years, I've always called July the patriotic month. Not only do we have national celebrations, but we have the state celebration as well, and it's time to get the perfect steak going on the grill, but not your grill. The grill that is waiting for you at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. I know we like to think that we're pretty good, as a backyard barbecuer, and some no, but Ruth's Chris will always present the perfect steak in a wonderful environment where it's air conditioned. They do all the work. You don't have to worry about anything other than sitting back with friends, neighbors, and family and enjoying the best meal you have ever had. 275 Southwest Temple. That's Ruth's Chris right here in the heart of downtown Salt Lake City. If you're heading up into the mountains, Hotel Park City. It's the perfect meal for July waiting for you at Ruth's Chris.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. Here's Cormac Bone.
Looks like I-15 is still clean and clear between Ogden and Provo. Really, all your roadways looking pretty good. We do have a crash, though, and this is at the South Interchange. They're out of traffic and in the right shoulder as you transition to go onto I-215 South Belt, so not causing any congestion there. So it's only normal delays to look out for. 2100 north in Lehigh, eastbound between Redwood Road and I-15. And in Weber County, of course, it's Highway 89 from Harrison Boulevard all the way down to the mouth of Weber Canyon. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Highs are going to remain in the high 90s this week with a low chance of thunderstorms till Monday and Tuesday, when it's going to hit a 50% chance of thunderstorms and a high of 93. I'm Cameron Elliott in the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Okay, we're not talking about robots, but we're talking about robocalls. I never liked that song, by the way. And who doesn't hate those annoying calls and that annoying song? These are the calls that come up all times, day and night, multiple times a day. I get them all the time, and they
don't even stop. Like what happened to this whole do not call registry? Anyway, it doesn't matter how many spam filters you have on your phone. They just come so often. And I will tell you, I get the stupid, hey, you're approved for this loan at least 5 times a day and sometimes double that.
Yeah. Well, our Attorney General, who's always on top of things, is joining 48 other attorneys general around the country, pushing for the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, to do more.
Hey, Utah Attorney General Derek Brown. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, happy to be here. Thanks for having me on the show.
We have a question for you right off the bat. Do you get robocalls on your own phone?
Yes, and I hate them like all of you. Although, I had a friend, just as a side note, who showed me that, like, if you have an iPhone, you actually have a setting. There is a setting in your settings app where you can change it so that if you don't recognize a number, it won't even ring.
Yeah.
And so I'll have 10 or 15 of these things that'll go through in the course of an hour, but I never know because, I've got thousands of contacts on my phone.
Yeah.
And if it's not one of those, it just goes through to voicemail. And if it's important, they'll leave a message. But, pro tip, they never do.
I know. Oh, actually, some of them do. But look, I wanted to ask you, and of course we want to ask you, what is this? What can the federal government do? What are you asking for as attorneys general?
Well, first of all, what we're doing is we're going right to the FCC and basically saying there are things that you can do. And Holly, you mentioned like the do not call list, but that seems to, I just don't think it's very effective anymore.
Well, not anymore.
Scammers. Well, yeah, and scammers have gotten smart. I mean, what they used to do is they used to fake other people's numbers. So it would, when you get a call, it would look like it's coming from the government or from your bank or something like that. And once we cracked down on that, all they did is they do what scammers do. They find a new workaround. So now they just buy real working phone numbers and they just burn through them really fast. And so that's why for a brief period of time, a lot of us got calls and it actually said, like on my iPhone, it said possibly telemarketer, which was great, but they figured that out as well. So they're just a step ahead of us. So the bottom line is they get these new numbers, they burn through them. As soon as the spam filters realize that these are just scammers, then they just abandon the number and get a new one.
Oh, my gosh.
So you're telling us 100 reasons, Derek, why we can't do anything about it. But does the FCC have a plan, or is there something that you believe could be done? Because it sounds like it's almost an impossible burden.
Well, the reality is this is one of those issues where when you have almost all of my colleagues in the country saying, all right, FCC, get to work on this issue. This is within your purview. And what we've said is, look, there's a couple things they can do. There are a lot of companies that actually resell these phone numbers. And so we want them to be held to a higher standard. We want them to report on how they're being used. I mean, if they're burning through these numbers, we want them to be accountable and to know about that. We want, a lot of them will use these overseas shell companies. We want them to account for that. You know what I'm saying? And what we call number cycling, which is just where they buy these bulk numbers in bulk, and then they just cycle through them. So there's really no way to know that it's a scam. And once you do know, then they just move on. So there's a lot of things that the FCC can do, and that's basically what we're saying to them is, stop wasting time. You know what needs to be done. Here's 6 or 7 things. As the attorneys general of this country, we want to see them done now.
So, General Brown, I'm looking at the information, the press release that your office issued, and the numbers are kind of mind-boggling. The Americans got almost 30 billion scam robocalls and texts in 2025, and in Utah alone, 20 million robocalls every month. I mean, that's just exhausting.
Well, and this add to that the text. You mentioned text.
Yeah.
I mean, how many of us are getting texts?
So many.
From numbers that we don't recognize. And, always be sure to delete and report spam. But the reality is it doesn't matter anymore because they're just getting more sophisticated. So this is really a two-part thing. One is us as attorneys general doing our job. And by the way, this is one of these issues where it doesn't matter what party you're a member of. I mean, Democrats or Republicans, we're all working together because everybody hates this stuff. And so we're using the tools we can. But the second thing is also just getting people aware of what they can do and helping shake this idea that we have that if you get a phone call from some number you don't recognize, you don't need to answer it. You really don't. And maybe this is one of those things where if there are, parents or grandparents who are elderly, we need to help them realize that, their kids and grandkids are in their phone, their contacts. If someone calls from a number you don't recognize, you are not duty bound to answer that call.
What kind of support do you think you're going to get, or are you getting from the FCC? Do they seem receptive to what's going on here, Derek?
Well, I think they'd be crazy not to be receptive,
right?
Because if there's something that everyone universally hates, it's this. And the reason everybody hates it is because it's such an intrusion into just the productivity of our daily lives. I mean, we've all got to use. We have been conditioned now to use our cell phones and texting. And if someone just it's like plaque that you just have to continually clear off. But no, we're getting good reception, and we believe that we're going to make some progress here with the FCC. And so our job is to do that, but then also just to let people know that you have a right to be able to trust the identity of the person calling you, that it's not a scammer, and they're just getting much better. I used to get these scam calls from Mexico, and I knew that if it started with an international area code 51, it was a load of hooey. And anytime I answered it, invariably, it was some guy who had a timeshare thing and what. It was always garbage. Not just 99% of the time, 100% of the time. Yeah. But they're smart now. The calls don't come with an area, international area code 51 to alert you. They're local numbers, and so that's what we're trying to get after here.
Derek, we don't have very much time, but I have to ask you this question. What about political robocalls and texts? Because they're annoying too.
Oh, and can I just to be fully transparent, when I was running for office, I had someone that I was working with who said, okay, so we're going to do these robocalls and texts. And I'm like, no. They're like, well, they're actually they can be pretty effective. And I said, they may be effective, but I hate them.
We do hate them so much.
We do, and so I think that they should apply by the same standards as everyone else. And so there shouldn't be a different set of standards for those doing political stuff versus just regular businesses.
All right. You heard it here first on Inside Sources.
him.
Thanks, Attorney General Derek Brown.
Hey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on Inside Sources, we're going to talk about the growing distrust in America's college and universities. What's contributing to this lack of faith in the schools that we rely on for advanced education and training? Details coming up next.
Jane is a small business owner.
That's right.
And tell them what that's like, Jane.
Yeah, well, it's like a roller coaster with a lot of ups and downs, and some days things can feel like they're flying off the rails.
Yep, it's a lot. But the Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business can help you manage it all. With the largest, fastest fiber-powered network designed for 100% reliability with business internet and wireless connect. Plus gig speeds with security and equipment included. All with a 5-year price lock.
Nice. So everything stays on track.
Exactly. The Total Solutions Advantage. Get started for just $60 a month for 12 months when you add wireless connect to a qualifying internet package. No one does business like Comcast Business.
Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. New customers only. 1-year agreement, paperless billing, and automatic payments with bank account required. $60 offer requires 300 meg internet, security edge, and additional qualifying service. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
Murphy's Law says that if your air conditioner is going to break down this summer, it's going to be when you least expect it and at the worst possible time. And for a lot of homeowners, the fear isn't just the breakdown. It's worrying about what happens next. Is this going to cost a fortune? Am I going to be pressured into replacing it? Can somebody just help me figure out what's wrong? At Any Hour Services, that's exactly what we're here for. Maybe your system just needs maintenance to help prevent breakdowns before they happen. Maybe a part failed and a simple repair gets you back up and running quickly. Or maybe your system's getting older, repairs are adding up, and you think replacing it makes more sense. Whatever the situation, we'll walk you through your options, answer your questions, and make sure you have the information you need to make the decision that's right for your home and your budget. Maintenance, repair, or replacement, you choose what's right for you. That's how Any Hour Services works. Options, not pressure. Call Any Hour Services next time you need help with your air conditioner. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Oh, my goodness. Look, we have such good listeners, and they're so fun. If you want to join the conversation or you think you have an idea or a topic that we should talk about more on the show, please let us know. We have a special email, insidesources@ksl.com. Send us an email. Tell us what you think we should cover because we are looking for ideas and we want to keep you included in the chat.
I'm Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. Don't face the IRS alone.
I was self-employed and I got behind on my taxes. And then 1 year became 2 years and 3 years and $116,535.47 to be exact. It just became overwhelming. Finally, I went to another tax company and they were more interested in how good they were than helping me. I heard about Jordan and talking to the other people who'd done and been in the same situations that I was in, and their tax problems seemed just like mine. And so I went to Jordan and it was amazing. They were able to negotiate it down to $5,200 and life became wonderful to me.
Don't face the IRS alone. You need a tax attorney that's not afraid to fight for you. Visit endtaxworry.com to schedule your free consultation. That's endtaxworry.com.
I will be forever grateful.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
911 coming
exactly what happened.
My son and his wife and their 2 children haven't responded.
Susan Powell disappeared on a snowy morning in 2009.
Your wife is missing, Josh.
Yeah, but
And you want to think about it for a couple of days?
The podcast, Cold, has gone deep on these kinds of stories.
I'd had this overwhelming feeling that he had done something to her already.
Clearly, something happened on that couch because he cleaned it.
Find and follow Cold wherever you get your podcasts.
When American troops withdrew from Afghanistan in 2021, thousands of evacuees fled to the U.S. for protection. Many Americans welcomed their new neighbors.
For the last week, the governor tells me his office has been getting calls nonstop with Utahns wanting to help.
When we saw the pictures and the videos coming out of Afghanistan, we prayed to be able to help them.
But then, what happened? Listen to Stranger Becomes Neighbor, wherever you get your podcasts.
The new Inside Sources.
So why are Americans still feeling kind of meh about higher education? It's a good question. It's also a headline of a new Deseret News piece on changing education trends in the country.
Yeah, reporter Jason Swenson dug into polling both here in Utah and around the country, which finds that more and more Americans have little or no trust in the country's institutions of higher education.
And
a little bit surprising.
I'm a big fan of higher ed, obviously.
Sure, we both are.
And I want to chat more about these trends. So we asked the author, Jason Swenson, Deseret News, to join us. Thanks for joining us, Jason.
Holly, Greg, good morning. Good to be with you.
It's good to have you. So can you just give us the top line overview of what these trends continue to say?
I think the top line is, as you referenced, Holly, I think traditionally higher education has been one of those almost hallowed elements of American culture, something that people aspire to, that's hopefully accessible to people, and is certainly seen as a vehicle to be able to, claim the American dream, all the things that Americans might hope for. Certainly a key to social mobility and different things. But over the past couple of years, and in both of these polls, a local Deseret News poll from a few months ago, as well as a Gallup national poll that was released earlier this week, continues to show that there is sort of rising ambivalence about the value of higher education, whether or not it's worth the money, whether or not our college campuses have simply become perhaps too political, and if higher education continues to be the place that a young man or a young woman might go in order to prepare themselves for future jobs and some security. And so while both polls certainly suggest that the majority of Americans are still on board with higher education, it is concerning that upwards of a third or so express at least some level of reservation about their own confidence in higher education and our institutions, specifically across the country.
Jason, when you mentioned the value of higher education, you sort of broke it into two parts, but let me talk about the first one, the financial value, because we have heard over the years that student loan debt is such that a lot of people are finding that a college education takes a long time, if ever, to pay for itself. Is that part of the problem here, that people are just thinking that financial value of a higher education just isn't worth it as much as it used to? Because we used to all think it was a way to get your foot in the door to make money.
No, absolutely. As a matter of fact, when the Gallup poll, when some of the pollsters analyzed the own results, they found that almost a third of those who responded with some hesitation about the value of a college education, almost a third cited, Greg, the rising high cost of a college education. And so, as we see the sometimes alarming numbers of how much debt that our students are picking up even while they pursue degrees. And then that's, all along with the continued concerns as to whether or not that education is going to be able to ensure some security, or is it going to be a financial burden for them? And for the first time, this poll also registered questions about AI and how the emergence of AI is forming people's decisions about their confidence in higher education and its value. So yeah, to get back to your question, certainly the rising cost of college and deciding whether or not it's worth taking on that sort of debt is one of the prominent reasons why people are feeling some ambivalence.
Well, when Greg was starting that question, I thought it was going to go in a different direction because what I thought he was going to ask had to do with financial benefit over the earning lifetime of the person with a college education. And I thought there was still data that showed college degrees do elevate lifetime incomes.
No, you're exactly right, Holly. And I know even with some of the folks at the Ken Gardner Institute just earlier this year, once again released research that affirms what you just said, that in fact, pursuing higher education, claiming a college degree is still a proven and easily demonstrated way to be able to enjoy a lifetime of higher wages, better health care, even things like community involvement and opportunities to volunteer. They point to research saying it's directly connected to the pursuit and completion of higher education. So sometimes, Holly, I wonder, and I know this is something that I've spoken with, as I've spoken with a number of university presidents and all, is the messaging still clear that in fact higher education remains a proven route to a better life.
I have to add just one thing. So we've talked about domestic violence on our show a couple of times today, and we do know, especially with specific Utah-based reporting, and this is Dr. Susan Madsen's work, that women in poverty are more likely to be victims of domestic violence. And one of those key things for getting women out of poverty is education. Right, allowing them to then leave a violent relationship and feel like they have some ability to support themselves and their family. So I just wanted to put that plug in.
Jason, let me talk about something else you mentioned in terms of the value, and that is people may be starting to feel nationally and maybe even here locally that colleges have become a bit too political and that's not part of their mission. Is that a concern that people have?
I think it's a concern, and it's certainly, again, reflected in the Gallup poll, where you had, upwards of about a third of the people who shared some ambivalence, saying that for too many college campuses, they've really just become places fueled by political agenda and politics. Now, it's curious because I've brought up that point several times with Jeffrey Landward, the Commissioner of Higher Education here in Utah, and he has maintained that, again, it's an element of messaging that perhaps we can look on the news or on the lead story in TV and see perhaps protests happening or a lot of politically charged things happening campus. And Commissioner Landward's reminder is for 98% of the students enrolled in that university or in that college trying to, better themselves with their higher education, that's just simply not a part of their day-to-day college experience. And so sometimes there's perhaps the volume of the sort of political news that comes out of campus perhaps isn't an accurate story as to what's actually happening. And so I know a lot of schools are doing the best they can to try to make sure they're sending out the right message that it's, you go to college, it's not simply going to be one big effort in politics.
I think I want to just say, look, I know that college isn't for everyone, and I have a son. I have more than one child, actually, but I have a son that's going into the trades. He wants to become an electrician, and he is already working as an apprentice electrician, and I think that is a path that's great for him. I will also say he is getting additional education. It's not at a local university, but it is at a trade college. And it's a 4-year program for him as well. So there are additional paths that aren't necessarily through a university. So thanks for talking to us again today, Jason. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, that was an interesting article and an interesting survey. And maybe no surprise because we have been talking a lot about financial and other problems with higher education. And, a lot of people are concerned that it's
with good reason, for sure. With good reason.
Liberalism and whatnot. Anyway, I still support higher education.
Me too.
I'm happy that all 3 of my kids have degrees and advanced degrees. But it's not for everyone. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
When we come back on Inside Sources, a new study says that 3 of Utah's national parks are also some of America's happiest parks.
Aww.
How did AI figure this out? It wasn't a visitor survey, but something had to do with their smiles on their faces. We'll talk about that when we come back.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Cameron Elliott. KSL's top local story this hour. We now know which attractions will remain part of Bears Ears and Grand Staircase Escalante National Monuments after the president signed an executive order to shrink them by about 90%. The Bears Ears Buttes, Calf Creek Falls, House on Fire, and the Sand Island petroglyphs will stay part of the monuments, but other attractions like the Grand Staircase, Cedar Wash Arch, and Chimney Rock will not. Earth Justice Managing Attorney Heidi McIntosh tells KSL she's worried these areas could become subject to new mining or drilling operations.
They don't belong to the mining industry. They don't belong to the oil and gas industry. These are lands for all Americans to access, to enjoy.
Supporters say the reduction will make the monuments more accessible and easier to care for. Other national stories KSL is following. Attorney General Todd Blanche's confirmation hearing continues today. ABC's Peter Haralambous has more.
Democrats called an Epstein survivor, as well as Liz Oyer, the former pardon attorney under President Biden. Oyer testified she was fired by Blanche after she refused to recommend that actor Mel Gibson's gun rights be restored after he lost them following a misdemeanor conviction for battering his former girlfriend.
I declined to rubber stamp a political favor for a friend of the president, and it cost me my job.
Republicans, meanwhile, called George W. Bush's attorney general and the president of the Federal Law Enforcement Officers Association Foundation. Peter Haralambous, ABC News.
Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow Jones is up 134 points, that's 0.25%. The S&P 500 is down 10 points, that's 0.1%. And the NASDAQ is down 185 points, that is 0.7%. Coming up, expect steady temperatures in the 90s this week. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Are you a local business tired of juggling deliveries, managing drivers, or sending valuable employees across town? There's a better way. Pigeon Ship. For more than 10 years, Pigeon Ship has provided fast, reliable, same-day and next-day delivery services for businesses throughout Utah. Whether you need a few deliveries a day or hundreds, Pigeon Ship has the network, technology, and experience to get it done on time. Auto parts, plumbing supplies, electrical components, pharmacy deliveries, and more. Utah's most successful businesses trust Pigeon Ship to keep their operations moving. Stop the stress of hiring drivers. Stop pulling employees away from their real jobs. And stop worrying about whether your deliveries will arrive on time. Join the thousands of businesses that rely on Pigeon Ship every day for dependable local delivery solutions. Visit pigeonship.com today to schedule a call and see how quickly Pigeon Ship can streamline your delivery operations. Pigeon Ship. Avoid the trip. Pigeon Ship. That's pigeonship.com. Pigeonship.com.
Hi, it's Greg Skordas. What if I told you that 4 weeks from now, everything can feel different, including your energy, your weight, and the way your clothes fit? That's what Soda Dynamic Diet did for me, and that's what it will do for you. My first 4 weeks with Soda, I lost 18 pounds. After 7 weeks, I'd lost 30 pounds. Right now, listeners can get 4 weeks free when they call 866-800-SOTA and mention KSL Radio. Soda Diet and Nutrition teaches you how to let go of the weight and keep it off for a lifetime with no shots, no pills, just real food, expert guidance, and habits that last. Weight loss medications can cost a lot, and for many people, the bill does not end. Soda is different. Degreed nutritionists help you get the root cause of your challenges, guide you one-on-one, and teach you lifelong habits so that you can lose the weight without signing up for a lifetime bill. Get 4 weeks free when you call 866-800-SOTA and mention KSL Radio. SOTA is, say it with me, state of the art.
Progressive provides protection for your boat and other outdoor vehicles so you can explore new things.
Oh, I can finally try pesto.
We meant like water skiing.
I've just never had pesto.
Or maybe take the boat somewhere new.
I mean, is pesto spicy or sweet? Oh, guess we'll find out, right?
Right. Bundle home or auto insurance with your boat, RV, or motorcycle and stay protected with Progressive while you explore.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not ready for pesto.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Learn how to save more this summer at UCCU.com. Here's Cormac Bone.
We don't have any delays on all our major freeways, but we do have some disabled vehicles, and they're both out of traffic and in the shoulder, not causing slowdowns. So once again, the first is transitioning from northbound I-215's east belt to go eastbound I-80 into Parley's Canyon, again in the right shoulder, so no slowdowns. And then the other is in Utah County on southbound I-15 just after Pleasant Grove Boulevard, also in that right shoulder, so no delays behind them. Earn double points on gas and groceries this summer, plus 10,000 bonus points when you open a new Cypress CU Rewards Visa. Learn more at cypresscu.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today, the temperatures are going to be in the mid to high 90s with thunderstorms possible in the evening, and that's going to remain pretty much true for every day this week. Right now, though, it's 88 degrees and partly cloudy downtown. I'm Cameron Elliott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
It's no secret that I love Utah's national parks. I've mentioned several times on this show that we have a place in Torrey next to Capitol Reef. We go down there virtually every 3-day weekend. Love getting to the outdoors. We're not alone. Record-breaking attendance every year, it seems. And there's a new study that shows that 3 of Utah's national parks are actually among America's happiest parks.
Well, I really think this story is fun. So the way they, quote, figured out how the parks are the happiest is using an AI tool to scan through selfies taken at the country's 63 national parks. And then they used AI to measure how big the smiles were. So the bigger the smile, the happier the park.
Yeah, and so Utah's national parks, let's see, Canyonlands came in at number 4. There are 63. Mm-hmm. Fourth, Zion's at 7. Bryce Canyon at number 10. Minnesota has a park called Voyageurs National Park.
I didn't even know about that one.
So, the 3 people that went there were apparently really, really happy and put those numbers up high. So, yeah.
Yes, and your park is where?
Now, this is not, say it ain't so. Capitol Reef is dead last at number 63. That cannot be true.
Maybe they don't take
it's a happy
selfies.
Place.
I don't know.
People tell me it's the best kept secret in the national park system
because
nobody's heard of it.
Look, it's really funny. So the study was done by a social casino platform, Ace.com. What would make a casino want to do that? I don't know. I don't even ask, I guess. But National Parks Month is coming up. It's in August. And I just thought it was really a fun story. It was written originally, it's in the Salt Lake Tribune, but they didn't ask visitors. They just based on the smile score. So maybe people in Capitol Reef are huffing and puffing, and so their smiles aren't as big. I don't know.
So I guess people post their pictures on Instagram.
Yeah.
They went into Instagram.
They basically scraped it. Yeah.
So
they're scraping
it's like they're looking at your phone. They're looking at what you've posted and your selfies and the size of your smile.
That's right.
If you're going to gauge people's happiness about a park, that seems like as good a way as anything.
Yeah. So to your point about the Minnesota park coming in number 1, maybe they only had 3 visitors. They said the number of visitors wasn't a factor because the country's most visited park is the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. It straddles Tennessee and North Carolina, and they get 11.5 million visitors every year, but they were only in the middle. They're like number 27. So
Zion is a very popular park.
It is.
And it came in at number 7.
Yeah. Did I say it's 7? I meant 27 for Great Smoky Mountains. Did I say it right?
Yeah, you said it right. Near the
okay, so the other thing, too, is you just have to know that Canyonlands got 99.72. That's very high ranking, right? Even though they weren't number 1. But Capitol Reef still, it was 86.88 out on a 100-point scale. So really,
So,
I mean,
yeah,
they're happy
come
there
on.
too.
People are happy.
They're
Just
happy
not
there
as
too.
happy.
So it is interesting. So they trade in virtual currency. So I'm sure they're going to use this for some kind of
The happiest park, yeah.
scam.
And
maybe not a scam.
Canyonland's number 4. We're number 1 in the state. You know,
Well, this
that
is
would-
another
good for them.
story that's a happy park story, which
I like
this
this
one
one.
really made me smile this morning when I saw it. This is a KSL story. Harriman family completes goal of visiting all 63 national parks. That's amazing. So this is the Moon family of Harriman. They started 9 years ago in 2017. So they were driven by the National Park Service's free pass program. And so they have now traveled to all 50 states, and their kids have earned junior ranger badges. They have a bunch of stickers. They even went to American Samoa. I want to be their family.
Oh, there's a national park there.
Yeah, and in Hawaii and in Alaska.
So there's 63, which doesn't seem
There's
like
not
a lot.
one per state. but-
Yeah, I was going to say that's because Utah has a boatload of them.
Yeah.
Looking at the family talking about it, they said there's some states that are easier than others. There's a lot of them in Utah. There's a lot in California. You can get to the Grand Canyon, relatively short drive. You start looking at, Alaska, that's a little bit away, but there are 8 there.
They did 23 national parks during their first 2 years. So the Junior Ranger program, I guess, gives 4th graders free admission and their family. And so the first year that they started, their oldest was a 4th grader. The second year, their next oldest was a 4th grader. But 23 parks in 2 years, that's really great. So that was at the point where they said, hey, we're like halfway there, so we should just keep going.
Good for them. I wonder how they would rank them, and not that that's important.
Oh, that would be really interesting. Yeah, that would be interesting. So they have gone to Glacier Bay. Like I've been to, of course, Yellowstone National Park. I've been to some of the. I haven't been to all of Utah's. In fact, I've only been to one, but I won't admit that to you.
If America has 63, my guess is I've been to a third of them. Seriously, I've been to a lot all over the country, especially around the West.
They did say that some of their favorite memories came from places where there weren't as many people. So I don't even know this one. It's the Wrangell St. Elias National Park in Alaska. They said it was remote, but Olympic National Park offered hikes through rainforest. I have been to that one, but there weren't very many visitors for them, and so there were a couple there that they really enjoyed. They have gone to Texas. They've driven. Of course, some places you have to fly, of course. So they have been, by seeing these sites, they've been to 47 states, and now they hope to see the remaining 3 in the lower 48.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, all 63 national parks. That's pretty cool.
It is. So, look, I wonder if you have a favorite. Maybe it's like having a favorite kid. Do you have a favorite national park?
Of course.
Canyonlands.
Capitol Reef.
Capitol Reef. That's what I meant.
Because it's our home base.
Next after that.
I really like Bryce. I know that people think Zion and Grand Canyon are the big ones, but Bryce Canyon is just for pure beauty. I mean, when you walk around and you see those fixtures, not fixtures, but there's the rock.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like you're in a different planet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's nothing more beautiful than Bryce Canyon, really. And even in the off season, it's just beautiful all the time. So yeah, besides my home base of Capitol Reef, Bryce is my favorite.
That's really fun. So we don't have enough experience actually with national parks to say anything beyond some of the big ones we have seen. Grand Canyon, we have gone to Yellowstone, really enjoyed that. Don't pet the fluffy bison. I mean the fluffy cows, right? But there are, one of the things that's so fun is you have the opportunity, I think, to look at, I think, job well done by Congress in previous editions, right, of saying we are going to permanently set aside these parcels, right?
Yeah.
And turn them and make sure that they're preserved in perpetuity. So I love that. Okay, when we come back on Inside Sources, how does a person cheat on a driving test? Well, apparently it's a thing, and we're going to talk about a warning coming out of the DMV in California.
One 877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
Alpine Home Medical. We bring wellness home.
Hey folks, Jay Broadbent here from Alpine Home Medical. I've been helping folks breathe easier for 29 years now. Trust me, at my age, I know a thing or two about needing a good night's sleep. Is your CPAP mask old and nasty? Are your masks, filters, or tubing from the pre-COVID era? Or just plain tired of the hassle of ordering supplies yourself? Switch to our resupply program. We handle everything, automatic shipment straight to your door, insurance billing, and expert support. It's quick, easy, and keeps your sleep therapy on track. Doesn't matter where you got your machine from, anyone can join. Head to alpinehomemedical.com, click on the Easy Resupply button. That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical. We bring wellness home.
As we celebrate America 250, KSL presents Utah Cornerstones, honoring the businesses that built our past and continue to shape our future.
Some businesses sell products, others become part of a community's legacy. Since 1948, Duke's Jewelers has been a trusted part of Springville and Utah families' most meaningful moments. That's 80 years of meaningful craftsmanship founded by J. Melvin Duke. The tradition continues today under fourth-generation owner Kimberly Narupe, who quite literally grew up in the family shop. She has a fresh perspective and deep respect for tradition. Guided by values of care, honesty, and exceptional craftsmanship, Duke's Jewelers creates pieces designed to last a lifetime because every design begins with a story. Since Duke's is a family-owned store with lower overhead, they can offer better diamonds and craftsmanship at a better price. Learn more about this Utah Cornerstone at dukesjewelers.com.
Utah Cornerstones on KSL News Radio.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. For decades, the Family Support Center has been helping Utahns navigate life's challenges. Through crisis care, family support programs, parenting resources, and more, they provide the tools and support families need to thrive. Executive Director Lori Cox joins us with more.
At the Family Support Center, we see what can happen when people are given support, tools, and opportunities to strengthen their family's journey. Whether it's a parent trying to navigate their child's challenging behaviors, an overwhelmed parent who needs a safe place for their child, or a mother escaping domestic violence or facing homelessness, every family deserves support when life becomes overwhelming. That's where the Family Support Centers step in, providing resources, guidance, and a safe place for Utah families when they need it most. The Family Support Center's Perks program, free nurseries, and Life Start Village exist so families don't have to face hard moments alone. But none of this happens without community support. When you give, volunteer, refer someone you love, or simply share our mission, you help strengthen families and prevent child abuse. Visit us at familysupportcenter.org to see ways you can get involved.
By meeting families where they are and walking alongside them through difficult moments, the Family Support Center is creating lasting change. They're strengthening families and communities for generations to come across Utah, today and into the future. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Any Hour Services can help unclog any drain in your house, whether you have a backup, a clog, or a slow drain you want fixed. Call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Inside Sources.
So, thousands of California drivers are now being accused of cheating on their written driver's test. Some 11,000 drivers are going to need to retake it.
So, the DMV apparently looked at their results and found some irregularities, but they're not telling us what it is. I'm assuming that everybody got the same ones right and wrong, and so there must be something that people found that allows them to cheat on the test. If you're cheating on a driving test, you're in trouble because it's a pretty easy one to pass, right?
Well, that depends on who you're asking. I had some kids who had to take it multiple times.
The written?
Really, multiple times. Yeah. So what's interesting is I think, right, this is a story coming out of California. Some people were speculating, well, maybe there were technical issues, but the DMV statement reported by the Los Angeles Times said, no, this is test taker related. And maybe they don't want to give enough details because they don't want to give ideas to other people.
On the test, right?
Yeah. I have to tell you, I got my original driver's license in California, and I was, of course, a teenager. And this was not a written test, but my driver instructor told me, you're never going to be tested in California on parallel parking, so I don't need to teach it to you. I still can't parallel park.
Well, they should have taught it to you.
I know, but he said it's not on the test, so I don't need to teach you.
I'm just bragging, but I can parallel park really well. It's just something I can do. I don't know why. I can just do it. And you know what else I can do? I can back a trailer up.
Yeah.
You know, people really have a hard time with that.
Yeah.
I'm going to call out my wife because she was here yesterday, but not today. We had a boat, and watching her back that boat down the ramp was like
torture.
Something you would post on the internet.
I have gotten better because we do have a trailer and we drive it sometimes to the dump and stuff. I've gotten a lot better, but I'll tell you what doesn't help. My husband trying to give me instructions on how to do it.
Oh, I know.
If you say, no, turn this way. No. It's like, stop talking to me.
I learned that.
I can't sit there and say in my head, well, if I turn this way, it will go this way. No, I have to look and then just do it. But anyway, that aside, people in California, 11,000 drivers need to retake the written test. So
what will be cool is how they do.
I know.
Retake.
I know. That'll be really interesting, right?
A high number of them fail. That
I know.
Tells you maybe they were cheating.
You know, that's going to take me right into another news story that I saw this week that a professor was suspecting, I want to say Harvard, I could be wrong, but he was suspecting that his students were using AI to cheat or to really boost their scores during the year, including with the midterm. So he made them all do an in-person handwritten final exam. Their grades plummeted. There were very few who did the same. Like they just weren't retaining the knowledge. They didn't know the stuff. When they had to do it in person and sit down and do it, they did not do very well. And he kept the data. Like he said, I'm doing this as like even an experiment, and the graphs are really disappointing.
That's not a good sign. I mean, it sort of really spells out the fears that a lot of us have about AI, that people are just relying on it far too much and not learning what they should learn.
Yeah. I'm going to give you some other information too, and this is Utah wildfire information, just the latest today, right, for a couple of reasons. So one, it's still dry. We do know that there are clouds. We do know that there's some moisture coming, but there are 517 fires total for the 2026 season. It's a lot. 378,000 total acres. This is just Utah, of course. 378,000 acres burned. 332 of those 500 fires are human caused. And I will say this, today, their news came out that a man with the history of starting fires was arrested in connection with that Timpanogos fire, that one in the campground where I'm going to be in a week and a half.
2/3 of the fires caused
human caused in
year are
Utah.
human caused.
And the one in American Fork Canyon was deliberate. It wasn't an accident. It was a man who has a history of starting fires and then leaving them unattended. So
That's a psychology I've never understood.
I don't know it either, but there's some fascination with it, I guess. I don't know. He's in the Utah County Jail, and I sent my daughter a link to the KSL.com story about this man being arrested because she's coming with us up to the campground. And she said, I said, he's in jail right now. And she said, good. I said, I hope he's there for at least 2 weeks. And she said, I hope he's there for the rest of the summer.
You can come out in the winter.
Come out in the winter. That's exactly what she said. So I wanted to give you a few fun facts. So today is actually, it is Fresh Spinach Day. However, given the recent news about a parasite and fresh produce, I think maybe people would rather celebrate Rural Transit Day today. Actually, I don't know if you should eat fresh spinach right now. I don't know.
Just wash it.
It's not that easy. It's actually a parasite, and you have to do more than just wash it with water.
Is that the scary parasite?
Yeah.
That's causing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want that. Yeah, and because it's a parasite and not a virus, like it comes back and haunts you later.
Yeah.
So I really don't want that. Okay, so it's on this day. So it's June. It's not June. It's July. It's July 16th. It was on this day in 1769 that the first Catholic mission in California was dedicated, and that it was on the site of present-day San Diego. San Diego, Saint Diego, right? St. John. It was on this day in 1790 that Congress declared that Washington, D.C. would be the new capital. So in 1790, remember that was part of the agreement of...
Yeah, but it had previously been...
Well, New York was one of them. They also, Philadelphia is where they did like the Constitutional Convention.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. It was on this day in 1862 also that Ida B. Wells was born into slavery. She was born in Holly Springs, Mississippi. And if you remember Ida B. Wells' story, she became a journalist. She was a newspaper editor. She was a really outspoken opponent of lynching. Like, wasn't everybody? The answer was no. And she lost some of her newspaper jobs because she wouldn't stop talking about the lynchings that were happening in her area.
Yeah.
She was a big civil rights leader. So yay, Ida B. Wells.
Good for her.
It was on this day in 1871 that Tad Lincoln died. He was the 18-year-old son of Abraham and Mary Lincoln. And she had so much loss and grief in her life. She actually died on that very same day in 1882. So the day that her son died was also the day that she died, but it was
Mary Todd Lincoln
years.
died 11 years later.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he died at age 18.
Yeah.
Do we know?
And that was not their first. That was not their first child who died either. So
that's so sad.
We've had in the news this week about downwinders and Rika and people who are getting settlements right now. But it was on this day in 1945 that the first atomic bomb was exploded in our country. That successfully. That was in New Mexico. But we know that they continue to do tests in Utah.
1945?
Mm-hmm. 45.
Wow.
Yep. And then in 69, Apollo 11 launches. So that was carrying the first men to the moon, 1969. And then one more fun fact, and then you can do closing arguments. It was on this day in 1995 that Amazon opened as a business to be an online book retailer. And now look at it.
Now it's the monster.
It's a monster.
Comes to
a
my
$1 trillion
door every
company.
day.
But 1995 is when they opened.
Well, good for them. They've been very successful. And I was going to do my closing on elections and what I can expect tonight, but I have shifted gears because we talked about that a lot. Because you mentioned something just a minute ago about arson and the fires that are going on, and I got to thinking, what kind of person does that? And that got me to thinking about two segments we did today, and I've talked about a little bit, domestic violence. And I wanted to talk about just my perception of that, because if I don't want to do anything that would be akin to victim shaming, because I've mentioned today, and I've thought in my life in the past, why would a person, typically a woman, put up with that? Because I wouldn't. But it's not that easy. It's not that easy. Mm-hmm. And I can completely understand a person whose love for their children and for the family unity is so great that it overcomes their, what you might call their better sense or their fear of being in an abusive relationship, because the alternative is that you're apart from somebody and apart from your kids maybe half the time, maybe more, and still in an abusive relationship, even though it's from a distance. And so I hope that I didn't come across as being critical of people who stay in abusive relationships. I mean, I like to think I trained my daughters not to do that, and I've trained my son not to be a perpetrator, and knock on wood, I feel like I've been lucky and successful. But, I think domestic violence is a problem that we have in this country, and we do the best we can, and victims do what they think is best under the circumstances, and hopefully they can continue to learn, and officers can help as well.
Thank you for your closing arguments. That's it for Inside Sources. Utah's Noon News is up next with Maria Chaleos. Stay with us on KSL News Radio.